Good morning, students. I hope you all can hear me. நான் பேசுறது கேக்குதுனா? அஹனோனே um, let me share the screen. So continuously we are in a presentation, isn't it? So we were discussing about database neda. Database can discuss කරගෙන තමයි හිටියේ. So then we just learned what is database actually is, and then from the beginning in the introduction class we were just discussing about it, isn't it? එතකොට මම කිව්වා database එකක් කියන්නේ මොනවාද? Okay, I just gave you the idea. Database එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ like a water tank. ඒක ඇතුලේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ? Tables. You have tables. In tables you have fields, isn't it? We learned it, isn't it? So you have rows, columns, and then you have fields, isn't it? So in each of those fields only value will be added. Okay, so that is what we call those like collection of tables as database. එහෙම කියන එක මම ඔයාලට කියලා දුන්නා නේද? then database එකක් design කරනකොට හරිද නැත්නම් develop කරනකොට you have to follow a circle. That means there is a structure for it. விளங்கிச்சா? நீங்க வந்து அடுத்தோன்னு சரி எனக்கு டேட்டாபேஸ் எல்லாம் செய்ய தெரியும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு டேட்டாபேஸ் உங்களுக்கு எடுத்தோன்னே கிரியேட் பண்ணே இல்லாது. You cannot just design it by once without without following some steps. Okay, so according to even though if we are just developing a software or else a website, Puta, you know that there is a way, isn't it? You can't just at once, you can't gather the requirement and develop it and give it to the user or else to the client, isn't it? You have to come up with you have to pass through these few steps where you will be gathering the requirement, and then you will be coming up with a design, and then what you will be doing like the development and then modifying, testing. Likewise, there are steps, isn't it? So same applies to the database as well. விளங்கிச்சா? இப்போ நாங்க சாஃப்ட்வேர் ஒன்று டெவலப் பண்ணக்குள்ள என்னென்னலாம் ஸ்டெப்ஸ் இருக்குமோ அதே மாதிரியான ஒரு ஸ்டெப்ஸ் வந்து இந்த டேட்டாபேஸ் டெவலப் பண்ணக்குள்ளேயும் நாங்க කඩේපිටික වෙනවා. Okay? So තේරුණාද ඔයාලට පුතා? ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් අපි database එකක් develop කරනකොටත් මේ වගේ අර software එකක් develop කරනකොට අපි follow කරන steps ටික මේකෙන් උනත් අපිට follow කරන්න වෙනවා. හරි? දැන් බලන්න මේ graph එකේ දීලා තියෙනවා මුලින්ම ඔයා කරන දෙයක් තමයි database එකක් develop කරනකොට. Okay, you know that database එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ it contains what? Tables, that's it. So මේ table contain කරලා තියෙන මේ database එකක් ඔයා හදනවා නම් in the last class itself I showed you an example, right? මම ඔයාලට example එකක් පෙන්නුවා. ඒ example එකේ මම අර system එකක් open කරලා library management system වෙන්නේ නැති. ඒකේ කොහොමද මම insert කරාම කොහොමද database එකේ ඒක add වෙන්නේ, ඒ දේවල් ඔක්කොම මම ඔයාලට පෙන්නුවා. isn't it? நான் உங்களுக்கு காட்டினேன் தானே ஒரு சிஸ்டம் ஒன்று ரன் பண்ணி அதுல இன்சர்ட் பண்ணி சேவ் பண்ணி உங்களுக்கு டேட்டாஸ் கொண்டு இன்சர்ட் பண்ணி காட்டினேன். டேட்டா பேஸ்ல வந்து அப்படி எப்படி ஸ்டோர் ஆகுது, அதுல எப்படி டேபிள் நோண்டு எப்படி இருக்கும் அதெல்லாம் நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லி தந்தேன் லாஸ்ட் கிளாஸ்ல நான் காட்டினேன் உங்களுக்கு. So now you have the idea how the database will look like, isn't it? So now it is time for you guys to know how you gonna develop it. Okay, then நீங்க பார்த்த விஷயத்தை வந்து நீங்க டெவலப் பண்றேன்டா எப்படி டெவலப் பண்றது அப்படின்ட்டு நீங்க இன்னைக்கு பார்க்க போறோம். So the first thing that you will be doing is requirement gathering. Soon after the requirements are gathered, you have to analyze it. Okay, requirement analyze කියලා කියන්නේ පුතා දැන් හිතන්නකෝ මං ඔයාගේ මං client කියලා හරි ඔයාලා දැන් database develop ඒ කියන්නේ software එකක් develop කරනවා නම් ඒ software එකට develop මේ database එකක් develop කරන්න වෙනවනේ අනිවාර්යෙන් you have to do that, isn't it? So assume that there is a company like Microsoft company කියලා ගමුකෝ. So now assume I am the client. Okay, then මං Microsoft company එකට ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා මෙහෙමයි මට software එකක් develop කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා. So there will be group of people just to gather requirement. Okay, the purpose of them is like අර group එකේ තියෙන්නේම එයි requirement gather කරන්න විතරයි. එළඟිචා requirement gather பண்றதுக்காக வேண்டி மட்டும்னு சொல்லி ஒரு group ஒன்று இருக்கும். So they are not a group, even one person would be there who will be gathering the requirement. Soon after the requirements are gathered, even the group or else the person will analyze it. Analyze කියලා කියන්නේ then මං client කෙනෙක් විදියට මං මට ඕන දේවල් ඔක්කොම කියනවා. දෙතුන් පාරක් එකම දේ කියලා තියෙන්නත් පුළුවන් නේද? Like they might have written it out or else they might have recorded the requirements, everything, all the requirements will be with them. But actually මං මොනවද actually මෙයාගෙන් expect කරන්න කියන එක යාලට Okay, sorry, there was a chat, and then I'll reply to that message, okay, later at the end of the session I'll reply, okay, don't worry. So requirement analyze කරාට පස්සේ මුලින්ම හරිද දැන් requirement එක ගත්ත requirement එක අරන් මුලින්ම analyze කරන්න ඕනේ விளங்கிச்சா ஏன்னு சொன்னா இப்ப நான் ஒரே விஷயத்தை இப்ப கிளையண்ட் என்ன செய்வாங்க இப்ப அவங்களோட ஒருத்தர் பேசுறாங்கண்டா இப்ப அவங்க ஒரே விஷயத்த 2 3 விதமா சொல்லிக்கலாம் அப்ப அவங்க சொன்ன எல்லா விஷயத்தையும் நாங்க போட்டு செய்ய போயிட்டோம்னு சொன்னா இப்ப ஒரு கேக் செய்யறது எப்படின்னு நான் கேட்டேன்டா யார்ட்யாச்சும் அப்ப அவங்க என்ன செய்வேன் நான் சொல்றேன்னு வைங்களே ஒருத்தருக்கு அப்ப எனக்கு ஆக்சுவலி தெரிய கேக் செய்யறது எப்படின்னு சொல்லி பட் நான் சும்மா சொல்றேன் எக் போடணும் அதுக்கு போற இன்னொருக்கும் ஒரு இடத்துல நான் சொல்றேன் இன்னொருக்கும் எக் போடணும் எட் பண்ணணும் அதுக்கு போற இந்த கலர் போடணும் அந்த கலர் போடணும் 2 3 இன்கிரீடியன்ஸ் போடணும் ஃபிளேவர்ஸ் வந்து 5 6 போடணும் அப்படியெல்லாம் சொல்றேன் நீங்க தான் என்ன செய்வீங்க உங்களுக்கு ஒரு கேக் செய்யற ஒருத்தருக்கு தானே ஒரு ப்ரொஃபஷனல் செய்யற ஒருத்தருக்கு தான் தெரியும் எக்ஸாக்ட்லி இதுதான் போடணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி சொல்றாக்கள் எல்லாமே சொல்றாங்கன்ட்டு சொல்றதெல்லாம் கேட்டுக்கொண்டு எங்களுக்கு செய்யலைன்னா அப்ப நீங்க அவங்க கேக்குற அவுட்புட்டை கொடுக்கணும் பட் நீங்க அதுக்கான அனலைஸ்மெண்ட்டை பண்ணணும் இல்லைங்களா so first you have to analyze actually what he or she is asking from you okay so this is what they need how could I just come up with the output for them likewise you have to analyze the requirement soon after the analyzement is done you can logically design it so when it comes to logical designing you have to get a paper and a pen or else even in the computer you can just design it with the shapes there are a few steps I will be teaching you where you can come up with the logical designs usually in මේ වගේ අර මොනවාද ER diagrams ඒ වගේ class diagrams ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා so I later on I will relational database ඒ වගේ තියෙනවා මම ඔයාලට ඒකත් මේකේ presentation එකේ තියෙනවා I will explain it later so මේක පුතා logical design එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ not the real data table okay as I showed you in the last class அப்படின்னு சொன்னா சாஃப்ட்வேர் உண்டுல பின்னுக்கால நீங்க பாக்குற நான் அண்டை லாஸ்ட் கிளாஸ்ல காட்டினேனே ஒரு டேபிள் உண்டு அந்த டேபிள் இல்ல பட் இதே பிடிக்கும்னு சொன்னா நீங்க எடுத்த ரிக்வயர்மெண்ட்டை வச்சு வந்து சும்மா வரைஞ்ச ஒரு லொஜிக்கலா வந்து ஒரு டிசைன் மாதிரி ஒன்று எடுத்துக்கொள்வீங்க then you can show it to the client and then if they are okay not even showing you can explain okay so this is what your requirement says so according to that I have come up with a logical design so just go through it so then you will identify whether this is the correct one or else should I need to add some other attributes or else an entity you just give me the background idea then அலங்கிச்சா நீங்க கிளையண்டோட பேசி சொல்லுவீங்க நீங்க ஓகே இது சரியா பிள்ளையான்னு பார்த்து சொல்லுங்க that's what you will do and then if they are agreed okay if they are okay with the design the logical design then they will ask you to proceed the thing isn't it so එයා එතකොට තමයි මේ physical design කියන එක හදාගන්නේ physical design එකේ තමයි මේ table එහෙම එකක්ම එන්නේ හරි and then soon after the physical design is done completed you will be moving on to the implementation එකේ තමා you will use even SQL query or else you will be doing it manually okay මොනාරි ඒ වගේ manually hari නැත්නම් SQL query එකෙන් hari implementation එක කරගන්නවා okay after the logical design physical design එක design කරගන්නවා and then implementation එක කරගන්නවා students can you hear my voice is it clear
Yes, ma'am.
okay guys who is the host now guys can you make me as the host iPhone I don't know the name okay thank you that's the connection problem I think okay so then Puta as usual soon after the implementation is done you guys know that they as a developer as a software developer or as database engineer or whoever you are you have to do these 3 steps okay so all these steps has to be followed at the same time maintain and modification and then monitoring these 3 things has to be done okay ඔයා දුන්න කියලා එහෙමම තියෙන්න බෑ සමහරවිට ඔයා දුන්නත් එයාලා ඔයා ගාවම අර මේන්ටෙනන්ස් එක ඒ පාර්ට් එක ඔයාට කරන්න කියලා දීලා තිබ්බොතින් you are the one who have to monitor modify sometimes maybe they might ask you to come and like to do like add another table තව අලුතින් ටේබල් එකක් ඇඩ් කරන්න දැන් හිතන්නකෝ ස්ටුඩන්ට් මැනේජ්මන්ට් සිස්ටම් කියලා ස්ටුඩන්ට් ඩීටේල්ස් කියලා ටේබල් එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් ඒ වගේම ස්ටුඩන්ට් කෝස් ඩීටේල්ස් කියලා තව ටේබල් එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් ලෙක්චර්ස් ඩීටේල්ස් කියලා පේමන්ට් ඩීටේල්ස් කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා හිතන්න දැන් අලුතින්ම ක්ලයින්ට් ඇවිල්ලා කියනවා මේ සිස්ටම් එකට අලුතින් ටේබල් එකක් ඇඩ් කරන්න ඕනේ ඒක තමයි මොනවාද assignment details එහෙම මොනාර එකක් okay එතකොට ඒකට වෙනම ටේබල් එකක් හදන්න ඕනේ නම් you are the one who is going to modify it understood so maintenance monitoring everything has to be done so you guys know that requirement ගෙදර කියන්නේ user කියන දේ අහලා එයාට මොනවාද actually ඕනේ කියන එක තේරුම් අරගෙන ඊට පස්සේ ඒක ලියා ගන්න එක analyze කරගන්න එක and then you have to come up with something called logical design where you will be logically designing and then physical design කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා I will explain it later on and implementation is the one who you will be coding in SQL queries or else you will be manually designing the database and then monitor කරන්න ඕනේ modify කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕනේ maintenance කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නත් ඕනේ so this is the database life cycle I hope you got the idea if possible take it down in a paper later on it would be really easy for you now so when it comes to requirement following then now assume that you are identifying a requirement කියලා කියන්නේ මේ systems වලින් දැන් හිතන්නකෝ මම ඔයාලට මේක activity එකක් වත්තම දෙන්නේ so requirement follow කරනකොට දැන් ඔයා ගන්නවා කියලා හිතන්න library system එකකට okay assume that there is a person now assume I am the one who is come I have a library so I have come to you okay then ඔයාලා මොනවද කරන්න ඕනේ නම් මට මේ library system එකේ මොනවද තියෙන්නේ කියලා මං කියනවා කියලා හිතන්න okay library usually you guys just tell me what could be there in library management system what are the tables that we can have what could we have usually නිකන් කියන්න බලන්න library management system එකක් නම් library management system ஒன்றுல பொதுவா என்னென்ன விஷயங்கள் ஒரு requirement என்னென்ன கேட்கலாம் என்னென்ன ஈக்க வேணும் என்னென்ன tables ஈக்கேலும் just tell me any idea library management system එකකින් what are the tables that they can have that the library system can have book details කියලා table එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් නේද okay yeah membership very good membership so book details okay so then what else we can have membership can have their author book yeah book id all this comes now I'm asking Puta like what are the tables book details under book details you can have book id book name book all the other stuffs and then there should be another separate table to have members details so member id member name member address email address all these comes under that what else author maybe okay author details කියලා තව එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් okay and then return details okay return details ඒක පුළුවන් නම් අපිට මේ book details එකෙන්ම දාන්න පුළුවන් likewise a library management system can contain these kind of tables right Gatwick college එක ගත්තාම student details කියලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ නේද? වගේම lectures details කියලා employees details කියලා තියන්න පුළුවන්. And then student payment details isn't it? එතකොට payment details කියලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. employees ලාට payment එකට වෙනම තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. And then like course details isn't it? Likewise system like if there is a system for Gatwick college then they might have these tables with them isn't it? So categorized කරලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. hospital system එකක් නම් what kind of tables we can have in hospital system just give me some idea කියන්න බලන්න என்னென்ன ஈக்கலாம் hospital management system ஒன்றுண்டா hospital என்னென்னலாம் தேவைக்கும் என்னென்னத்துக்கெல்லாம் வந்து டேபிள் ஒன்று விக்கிறேன்டா ஈக்கலாம் yeah doctor details very good Nuskia any other patient okay patient details very good any other tables drug details very good drug details very good any other what else
sample details
sample means
in laboratory services
yeah, so we can take it as like what, medical records, isn't it? Medical records. So yeah, we can have something like that. Okay, table name maker. And then for an example we can say employees is a, yeah, because nurse, all the other staffs will be there, right? So staff details ke leka tiennat puluwan neda. You can have something like that as well, isn't it? And then diagnosis details, for which this patient have this diagnosis, likewise, isn't it? Payment, yeah, salary, all these things can come under hospital system. Now you have got the idea. I can understand that you are having the idea, really great, eh? So now ඔයාලට දන්නවා දැන් මේ වගේ තැන්වලදී මොන datas නේද? So all these comes under what? Datas. So if you are a patient, you will have some kind of a disease, isn't it? So disease details or else diagnosis monari or detail එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ නේද? So all this comes under what? Hospital system. Likewise, hotel management systems are there, payroll systems are there, and then what stock control systems are there. Likewise, there are many more systems. So all these systems have its own tables, okay, in it. දැන් අපි බලමු හරි දැන් ඒක හරි දැන් ඔයාලට දන්නවා දැන් අපි බලමු flat file dbs කියන්නේ මොනවාද ඒ වගේම relational dbs කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද කියලා dbs. So then flat file dbs කියලා කියන්නේ a flat file database is a database designed around a single table. A flat file design puts all database informations in one table or a list with fields to represent all parameters. That means there won't be any other tables, only one table will be there. Flat file kela kiyanne hari, all the details, all the parameters will be in like represent, will be given in a fields, okay, in all the fields in one table. Okay, there won't be multiple tables. Then මම ඔයාලගෙන් activity එකක් අහුවනේ, ඒකෙදි ඔයාලා මේ වෙන වෙන කිව්වා මේකට මේ වගේ table එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්, මේව table එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. So those are different tables. But when it comes to flat files, puta, only one file will be there with a single table, okay, where it will have all the field parameters. Okay, so all the parameters will be there in all these fields. And when it comes to relational database, okay, relational database a relational database is one or else, yeah, on the other hand, it incorporate multiple data tables with methods for the table to work together. That means there won't be one table. Instead of one table, it will have multiple tables. Relational database එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ. And also these multiple tables will have relation in between them. Clear ද පුතා? මේක ඔයාලා තේරුම් ගන්න ඕනේ. දැන් ඔයාලට මං theory තමයි කියලා දෙන්නේ. Don't worry much about it, okay? දැන් ඔයාලට මේක තේරෙන්නේ නැති වෙයි සමහර විට relational flat files කියන්නේ. But when it comes to practical, definitely gonna understand everything, because we're gonna draw things, we're gonna like draw the ER diagram and all. So then you will clearly understand what is this relational database is, okay? So relational database එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ there will be multiple tables. So these multiple tables, in each of these tables will have a relation in between them. Now payment කියලා කියන හිතමුකෝ patient කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. So patient has a relation with whom? A doctor, isn't it? Doctors will have a relation with what we can say medical records or something. Patient also will have a relation with the medical record, because patient ගෙන relation මේ මොනවාද medical record එක මේක කියන එක තියෙන්න ඕනේ නේද? So like a student, if we take a student management system, student will have a connection with what? Courses. But they won't have connection with the employees, because there is nothing to deal with employees, isn't it? So employee connect student කෙනෙකුට employees data කීයක්ද payment එක දෙන්නේ, ඒ වගේ දේවල් බලන්න ඕනේද? No, they won't be able to see how much this lecturer is getting paid or that lecturer is getting paid, because that is related to the employee or else the lecturers, isn't it? So students will have the relation, the student data table will have relation with the courses. Okay, මේ course එක මෙයා follow කරනවා. එතකොට එයාට එයාගේ payment, student payment details කියලා එකක් තියෙයි. So එයාට මේ student මෙච්චර ගාණ මේ month එකට pay කරලා තියෙනවා. So rest amount is this. Likewise, they will have relation, separate relation. Understood? So relational table එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ database එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ multiple tables with relations. So I will show you an example here. So when you take a flat table, flat file එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ, it looks something like this. okay මේ උඩ තියෙනවා නේද text number කියලා තියෙනවා so here it will have all the numbers then ඔයාලට register number තියෙනවා වගේ okay so as you guys have registration numbers this here text number කියලා කියන්නේ the numbers okay registration kind of registration numbers and then street address okay so here see the address has been given and then with the same name there could be two members but they won't have the same IDs so that is why we have IDs for each of us okay even identity card එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ uniquely අපි identify කරගන්න තමයි we have identity cards isn't it so and then we have a block so then a particular person ke block එක කීයද and then owner likewise see all these fields has been given but this one is just one table isn't it but when it comes to relational table look at this relational table එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මේ වගේ එකකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ relational table එකක් කියලා okay you will have multiple tables see TBL booking කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා TBL catalog කියලා තියෙනවා එකක් registration එකක් okay regions කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා TBL bands කියලා තියෙනවා likewise you have tables so TBL means tables okay so each of these table has its own fields බලන්න මේකට බලන්න TBL client කෙනෙක් නම් එයාගේ titles client gets title එක එයාගේ name first name address all these comes under this table and then this table the client table and table TBL bookings okay because client are the one who will be booking so මෙයාටත් connection එකක් තියෙනවා but TBL client ටත් මේ TBL like say catalog එකටත් මොනාරි සම්බන්ධයක් තියෙනවද is there is any connection between these two no here you cannot see any lines because these tables have connection between this catalog table but client table doesn't have that okay facilities it doesn't have any connection with the table with client table விளங்கிச்சா சோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு டேபிளுக்கும் இடையிலான தேவையான ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் தான் ஓகே ஒவ்வொன்றுக்கும் இடையில தேவையான ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் சீக்கும் ஓகே சோ அந்த ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் படித்தான் இந்த டேபிள்ஸ் எல்லாம் வந்து கிரியேட் பண்ணப்பட்டிருக்கும் இன் ரிலேஷனல் டேட்டாபேஸ்ல okay I hope you got it so now you have the clear idea between the flat files and then the relational database now don't worry much about relational data type I will teach you like clearly okay relational data type එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද කියලා database එක so now it is time for us to learn about these keys okay keys කියන්නේ මොනවාද keys වලින් මොනවාද තියෙන්නේ so why do we use these keys කියන එක තමයි මම ඔයාලට මෙතන explain කරන්න යන්නේ so the first key okay I was telling primary key කියලා so මේක තමයි අර uniquely identify කරගන්න අපි පාවිච්චි කරන key එක we call it as primary key a field in which very uniquely identifies its record okay so this field will be the one which will be uniquely identifying the record that means with the same name there can be two person isn't it in one classroom there can be two person but why you have been given a registration number that means puta to uniquely identify you now we will assume that ප්‍රදාප් කියලා දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා කියලා so මේ ප්‍රකාශ් දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා නම් එක්කෙනෙක්ට අපි 001 කියලා unique identifier එකක් දෙනවා then second කෙනාට අපි කියනවා 002 කියලා so when they are doing their payments and all the other stuffs both the datas won't be like redundant වෙන්නේ understood redundant කියලා කියන්නේ multiply වෙලා මෙයාගේ record එකේ එයාගේ payment එක එහෙම දාන්න වෙන්නේ නැහනේ isn't it so uniquely identify කරන්න තමයි we usually have this primary key field an attribute which acts as a primary key must have okay certain characteristics cannot have null values primary key එකේ primary key අනිවාර්යෙන් තියෙන්න ඕනේ okay we cannot have like in Sri Lanka like we can't just live without ID like NIC card right national identity card neda இப்ப எங்ககிட்ட ஒரு நேஷனல் ஐடென்டி கார்டு இல்லன்னு சொன்னா எங்களை கட்டாயம் போலீஸ்ல வந்து நாங்க எங்கேயாச்சும் போகல பிடிப்பாங்க ஸோ எங்க உங்களோட நேஷனல் ஐடென்டி கார்டு நாங்க சொன்னோம்னா இல்ல நான் வச்சுக்கொள்ள மாட்டேன்னு சொன்னா they will put us into the prison isn't it so that is why like we all have a national identity card isn't it so even if we get lost one then we have to get another one isn't it so that means it is really needed it is like a part of our life okay we can't just live without the NIC card because it is to uniquely identify you තේරුණාද? එතකොට null values තියන්න බෑ. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ නුස්කී කියලා දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා. නුස්කී 1 එකට registration number එක දීලා තියෙනවා. නුස්කී අර දෙවෙනි කෙනාට තාම දීලා නැහැ කියලා හිතමුකෝ. No, you can't have like that. Okay, so it cannot be null. Null කියලා කියන්නේ no values. Null you cannot have null values in primary field. And also it should be unique. Unique කියලා කියන්නේ you can't have the same numbers. Okay, 001 the again 001 කියලා આવතින් no, it is not unique. So definitely 001 කියලා තියෙනවා නම් දෙවෙනි කෙනාට you have to give 002 or any other values. තේරුණාද? So null values cannot be there, and also you must have unique values, and you should not, okay, values should not be redundant. Redundant කියලා කියන්නේ repeatedly you cannot have the same number again and again. Then 001 කියලා දෙපාරක් තියෙන්න බෑ. Okay, that is also really important. So it should be unique, it should not be null, and then it should not be redundant. Okay, values redundant වෙන්න බෑ. මේක clear ද ඔයාලට? primary key ගේ characteristic ඔයාලට තේරුණාද? එතකොට මේ දැන් හිතන්නකෝ දැන් ඔයාට කාර් එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ කාර් එකට එමෝගෙම key එක දාලා open කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් එතන security එකක් තියෙනවද? No, right? So එයාටම කියලා අර කාර් එකටම කියලා එකම key එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. ඒ key එක පාවිච්චි කරලා විතරක් තමයි ඔයාට ඒ කාර් එක open කරන්න පුළුවන් වෙන්නේ. නේද? ඒ කියන්නේ ඒ වගේ එකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ primary key කියලා. Understood? So you having a key, that value cannot be null. එතන key එකක් නැත්තම් open කරන්න බෑ. That's how it is. And then also it should be unique. දෙන්නෙක්ගේ තුන් ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ යාළුවෙක්ගේ key එකක් දාලා ඔයාගේ මේ කාර් එක open කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් එතන security එකක් නැහැ. So you cannot have like that. Only your key has to support your car. And then redundant වෙන්න බෑ කියලා කියන්නේ keys දෙකක් තියාගන්න බෑ. Okay, මේ කාර් එකට આવතින් you might have two keys, but actually when it comes to database you can't have two keys. Okay, එක key එකක් තමයි තියාගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ තමයි මේ primary key characteristics වැඩ කරන්නේ. Is it clear? Primary key කියන්නේ මොනවාද කියලා තේරුණාද? Is it clear පුතා?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, well done. Now types of there are not only primary key, there are some other keys. We call it as super keys, conditional key, okay, candidate keys, sorry, primary key, alternate key. Likewise there are many other keys, so we'll just go through by one, okay. So super key කියලා කියන්නේ පුතා any unique fields of a table. That means whatever the table it is. Now assume that there is a student table. Student details කියලා table එකක් තියෙනවා. Students ලගේ නම එක table එකේ තියෙන පුළුවන් නේ. දැන් හිතන්නකෝ රකාෂ් කියලා කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා, ජෝන් කියලා, ජැක් කියලා දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්නවා කියලා. So මේ ජෝන් කියන එක super key එකක්. ජැක් කියන එක super key එකක්. එයාගේ මොනාරි දැන් address එක super key එකක්. Likewise all these field එකේ තියෙන හැම ඒ කියන්නේ table එකේ තියෙන හැම field එකකටම එක field එකක් අපි ගත්තාම කියනවා super key කියලා. Okay, so I will show you an example. Look at this here. We call one of this field as super key. Here, super key. මේ හැම එකකටම අපි කියනවා super key කියලා. 1 C++ කියන්නේ super key එකක්. Java කියන්නේ super key එකක්. 002 කියන්නේ super key එකක්. But still it is primary key. Well, I'll teach you. But this is just a super key. All these things are super keys. Okay. And then candidate key කියලා කියන්නේ every minimal super key of a table. Okay. ඒ කියන්නේ minimal super keys. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර විට තියෙනවා පුතා සමහර keys තියෙනවා minimal super keys. Super keys කියලා කියන්නේ එහෙම field එකක්ම. Okay. In when it comes to a table, all the keys are known as super keys. I hope I might have another presentation with me. Wait, I'll check. That would be really easy for you to understand than this presentation. Let me check it first. මේක පෙන්නන්නම් මේකට වඩා ඒක easily understand කරගන්න පුළුවන්. It's not a presentation, I think it's a PDF, but it's okay. Okay, I'll just display it. This one is really easy. Maybe I think this should be there. keys details should be there. We'll see. Yeah. All right. Okay. Well, let's move to this. Before that, we have to know about these keys. Okay. Keys ගැන මම කියලා දෙන්නම් ඊට පස්සේ අපි ඒක බලමු. So then okay. මේකට පස්සේ කොහමදත් ඔය ER diagram ගැන තමයි ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. And primary key as we learned primary key එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ one candidate key. That means that should be unique. Okay. ඒ කියන්නේ එක table එකේ ඒ value එක එකපාරක් තමයි තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, you cannot have multiple times. It's like 1001 කියලා field එකක් තියෙනවා නම් that should be only once. You cannot have redundant values or else you can't repeat it again and again. That's how it is. Okay, primary key. Alternate කියලා කියන්නේ candidate keys other than the primary key. All the other candidate keys which is like not the primary key. Alternate කියලා කියන්නේ primary key නැතුව තියෙන keys තියෙනවනේ ඒකට අපි කියනවා alternate key කියලා. Okay, while we are learning this ER diagram you will understand this clearly. Okay, when we are assigning these primary keys and other stuff you will clearly understand. So then composite key කියලා කියන්නේ when the primary key contain more than one fields in its cell and okay we call it as composite key. That means in some table we can have like primary key එකම ඒ කියන්නේ එක primary key කියලා එකක් තියෙන්න බෑ. We'll be having like multiple primary keys. Okay, එතකොට ඒකට අපි කියනවා composite key කියලා. Foreign key කියලා කියන්නේ one table then එක table එකේ තියෙන එක primary key එකක් අනිත් table එකකිනුත් අපි පාවිච්චි කරලා තියෙන කියලා හිතමුකෝ. ඒකට අපි කියනවා foreign key කියලා. So here in this example you will clearly understand. Look at this. Yeah. Primary key කියලා කියන්නේ student number. 001 002 003 කියන්නේ primary key. Candidate key කියලා කියන්නේ බලන්න මේකත් student number කියන එක primary key වගේමයි. ඒ වගේම ID number කියලා කියන්නේත් මේ වගේමයි නේද? Now this student won't have Amal කියන මේ student මේ එයා ID number එක එයාගේ ID number එක මේ විමල් කියන කෙනාට තියෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? No, because NICs are different. So then student number කියන්නේත් ඒ වගේම primary field එකක් ඒ වගේම මේකත් ඒ වගේම field එකක්. ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ alternate key කියලා කියන්නේ මේ වගේම primary key වගේම තව key එකක් key field එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. And we call these both if there are both like this in one table we call it as candidate keys කියලා. Primary key here this is primary key. So here student number කියන එක මේ table එකේ තියෙනවා. මොනවාද book table එකේ තියෙනවා student table එකේ තියෙනවා. So we call this as foreign key as I told you now. Okay, so இப்ப பாருங்க student number ன்னு சொல்றது இதிலே மீக்குது student number field இதிலே மீக்கிண்டா நாங்க அதுக்கு சொல்லுவோம் foreign key. So if there are two tables or more than two tables which is having the same field same primary field then we call it as foreign key. Okay, I hope it is clear. Here this is also the same. Okay, foreign keys then now see so here it has to be like this. Here primary key of this C code and then it has follow course එකේ තියෙනවා follow එකේ තියෙනවා here. So these two are both are same. So we call it as foreign key. Okay, and composite key. Composite key කියලා කියන්නේ you guys know that both now here it, like both here student number එකක් තියෙනවා code කියන්නේ course code එකක් තියෙනවා දෙකම තියෙනවා. එතකොට we can call it as composite key කියලා. So if a table where it will have only primary key we can call it as primary key. If it had two primary key fields like this here see course මේ code එකක් තියෙනවා student number එකක් තියෙනවා then two IDs නේ මේකක් තියෙනවා නම් we can call it as composite key කියලා. Is it clear? Candidate key කියලා කියන්නේත් ඒ වගේමයි වෙන ඒ කියන්නේ වෙනම දැන් මෙයාව uniquely සමහර විට එක ළමයෙක් courses දෙකක් follow කරන්න පුළුවන්. The same person can follow two courses, right? So then this will get redundant ray. නේද මොනවාද ID number එක එයාගේ ID number එක දෙපාරක් එතන වැටෙන්න පුළුවන්. So then 001 002 කියන දෙකම student numbers දෙකම එකම කෙනාගේ නම් එතකොට අනිවාර්යෙන් අපිට ඒ primary key එක තියෙන්න වෙනවනේ because ID එක කොහොමදත් same, isn't it? Phone numbers can be used instead of using like ID number. Likewise these are known as alternative keys. Okay, so I hope you got the idea. Foreign keys කියන්නේ මොනවාද primary key කියලා කියන්නේ uniquely identify කරගන්න in a table if you wanted to uniquely identify a person's detail அப்படின்னா ஒருத்தரை வந்து தனியா ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிக்கொள்ளணும் அவங்கள மட்டும் ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணிக்கொள்ளணும்னு சொன்னா உங்களுக்கு இந்த பிரைமரி கீன்னு சொல்ற ஃபீல்ட வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணலாம் அந்த மாதிரி பிரைமரி கீ மாதிரியே ரெண்டு கீ ஃபீல்ட்ஸ் இருந்துச்சுன்னு சொன்னா வி கால் இட் ஆஸ் கேண்டிடேட் கீஸ்னு சொல்லி சரியா இப்ப ஒருத்தர் வந்து ஒரு ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ஒன்று அமல்னு சொல்லி ஸ்டூடெண்ட்க்கு வந்து ஒரு ஐடி ஒன்று ஈக்குது சரி ஒரு ஐடி நம்பர் ஒன்று ஈக்குது அப்ப என்ஐசி நம்பர் ஒன்று ஈக்குது அப்ப அந்த என்ஐசி நம்பருமே வந்து எப்படி யுனிக்கான நம்பர்ஸ் தானே ஈக்கும் ஏண்டா எல்லாமே உண்டாயிக்கும் எல்லாமே உண்டாயிக்குமா இல்லைன்னா ஒவ்வொருத்தையும் உங்களோட கிளாஸ் இருந்தாலும் உங்களோட ஐடி நம்பர் வந்து இன்னொருத்தர் ஈக்குமா இல்ல அப்ப ரெண்டுமே ஒரு உங்களை யூனிக்லி ஐடென்டிஃபை பண்ணி கொள்றதுக்கான ஒரு வேல்யூ ஏன்னா தென் ஐடி நம்பரும் வந்து அப்ப ஒரு பிரைமரி கீ ஃபீல்ட் மாதிரியே வரும் அப்ப பிரைமரி கீண்டு வேற நாங்க ஸ்டூடெண்ட் ரெஜிஸ்ட்ரேஷன் நம்பர் கொடுக்கறதும் அதே மாதிரியான ஒரு ஃபீல்ட் தான் தென் we can call it as candidate keys alternative keys one like it is like a same primary key වගේම තව field එකකට alternative key කියලා කියනවා and then if you have same primary key in two tables like here in student and book we call it as foreign and then composite key කියලා කියන්නේ if you have like two keys okay two keys ඒ කියන්නේ student key එකත් මේකේ තියෙනවා ඒ වගේම course code එකක් තියෙනවා here follow එකේ තියෙන බලන්න student number එක and student number and then course code it doesn't have any like separate key for it follow registration follow number කියලා නෑනේ so මේ table එකේ තියෙන එකක් තියෙනවා මේ table එකේ තියෙන එකක් තියෙනවා එතකොට මෙයාටම කියලා primary field එකක් නෑ so we can call these two data now these two are from different table here making ඉඳලා මේකටත් තියලා තියෙනවා එතකොට මේක foreign key at the same time we call it as composite key clear is it clear තේරුණාද මේක වැළඟිච්චා වෙන table එකේ ඉඳලා අපි primary key දෙක බලන්න this is primary key of this and this student number is primary key of student table course code is primary key of course table we have taken these two primary key and we have put it into another table called follow so these two are separate like primary keys from separate tables then we can call it as composite key වැළඟිච්චා composite key is it clear candidate
Yes,
key
ma'am.
alternate key clear so just keep it
Yeah.
in mind later on I might ask you a question okay මං composite keys ටිකක් පෙන්නලා මේක මොනවාද මේකට මොනවාද කියන්නේ කියලා එහෙම I might ask you so you have to remember this okay fine data dictionary and okay so this one is not needed now metadata is also not needed database uses ගැන අපි බලමු දැන්ට so database uses කියලා බැලුවොතින් you know that like database එක කවුද පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ okay so අපිත් database use කරන්නේ even you guys are using database if you have Facebook or Instagram or even if you are just ordering something in Daraz that means you are accessing to a database வழங்கிச்சா இப்போ நீங்க டராஸ்ல ஒரு ப்ராடக்ட் ஒன்று ஆர்டர் பண்ணி நீங்க வைப்போம் இல்லாட்டி நீங்க வந்து ஒரு ஃபேஸ்புக்ல அக்கௌண்ட் ஒன்று கிரியேட் பண்ணி பாவிக்கிறீங்கன்னு சொல்லுவோம் நீங்க என்ன செஞ்சீங்கன்றாலும் அது என்னன்னு சொன்னா நீங்களும் டேட்டாபேஸை பாவிக்கிறீங்கன்னு அர்த்தம் is it clear so you are interacting with the database somehow you are using in database okay understood and then can you give me a minute Putha I'll be back within another 1 minute okay give me a minute Thank you, guys. Okay. So there are like when it comes to database, there are like uses, different uses. Okay. So database එක create කරන්න, database maintain කරන කෙනාට එයාත් ඒ database එකත් එක්ක interact කරනවා. And then the users like then ඔයා insert කරනවා. Now assume that you are posting a picture or else posting a post, something like that. Okay, a reels එකක්. එතකොට you are just posting, you are interacting with the database. You doesn't know, but still you are interacting with the database. So there are different type of people who will be using this database. So here as you can see, database users, they will have an interface. Okay, so beyond that there will be query tool. Okay, so users cannot see any of these query tools or database, so they will just interact with the interface only. விளங்கிச்சா? Users என்ன செய்வாங்கன்னு சொன்னா, now see, users, just normal users like you and me, okay, we are just users. So then හිතන්න, දැන් ඔයා Facebook පාවිච්චි කරන, දැන් දරාස් use කරනවා කියලා කියමුකෝ. එතකොට ඔයා interface එකේ තියෙන අර details තමයි බලන්නේ. එතකොට එතන අර බඩු ඔක්කොම වැටෙනවනේ. Now you have this like all the products and but we can say that the amount of the product and the name, all the details, it is coming from the database, but still you are just interacting with it just to the interface. விளங்கிச்சா? அப்ப நீங்க இன்டர்ஃபேஸ்ல தான் பாப்பீங்க, சரியா? அப்ப டேபிள் மாதிரியா டேபிள்ல இருந்து interact பண்ணி தருது. And then you guys doesn't see the query because it is coming from the query. Okay, so now you are the one who, now later on you will be creating these queries and database. දැන් වෙනකන් බලාගෙන තමයි හිටියේ database එක කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ, database එක බලන්න, but database එකේ ඉඳලා එන එක insert කරනවා, අපි add to cart දෙනවා, buy කරනවා, මේ දේවල් ඔක්කොම කරගෙන හිටියා. But now you guys going to, even if you are uploading a picture or something, ඒ කියන්නේ database එක ඔයා insert කරනවා. Understood? Not, you are not just inserting it into the Facebook, but instead of doing it, you are just uploading it into the database of them. Okay, so Instagram එකේ ඔයා post එකක් දානවා නම් you are uploading the image into the database. තේරුණාද? එතකොට database system administrator කියලා කියන්නේ මෙයාලා තමයි administration. Okay, admin of the database. So they will have the control of both the database users and operators. Okay, so මෙයාලා තමයි මේ හැම එකක්ම operate කරගෙන ඉන්නේ. Administration is the one, now they are the one who having the control. So DBM operators කියලා කියන්නේ they are the some, now assume පුතා, දැන් මම මෙහෙම කියන්න. ඔයා දැන් එක කම්පැනි එකට යනවා. දැන් නිකන් හිතන්නකෝ, ඔයා hospital එකට යනවා. hospital එකට ගියාම reception එකේ කවුරු හරි nurse කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා කියලා හිතන්න. So they will ask you, okay sir or madam, tell me your name or else your phone number. Likewise they will ask and insert the data නේද? එයාලට අපි කියනවා DBMS, database management operators කියලා, because they are inserting, deleting, saving or cancelling, whatever they are doing some operation with the database. Okay, එතකොට ඔයාට බලන්න පුළුවන්ද ඔයාගේ data මේ ඔයාට කියන්න පුළුවන්ද nurse you just go away, I can insert my data කියලා ඔයාට එහෙම කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? No, you are not the operator. So we call them as operator, the nurses. Okay, they are the one who will be inserting, deleting, saving, updating, all the stuff will be done through them. Then you guys just watch things. then එයාලා එහෙම ඉන්සර්ට් කරාට පස්සේ එතන හිතන්නකෝ මොනිටර් එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා. එතනදි පෙන්නනවා ඔයාගේ වෙල්කම් කියන්නේ නිකන් කියමුකෝ ප්‍රකාශ් වෙල්කම් කොහමද වෙල්කම් ටු ආසිරි ඕ මොනාරි ඒ වගේ විල්ලා today's date, your phone number, everything will display. එතකොට you are just looking at the interface. Okay, so you are just looking at the database එකේ එයා ඉන්සර්ට් කරාට පස්සේ ඔයා බලනවා. තේරුණාද? user, you are just normal user. Database system administrator කියලා කියන්නේ they are the one who has actually created the database. then මේක මෙහෙම click කරාම මේක insert වෙන්න ඕනේ, මේ field එකේ මේක ඉන්න ඕනේ, මේකෙන් මෙතන insert වෙන්න ඕනේ, මේක එහෙම ඔක්කොම design කරලා තියෙන්නේ කවුද? Database system administrator. So I hope you got the idea. Database operators are the one who will be inserting, deleting, updating. And then even in order to do the insert and update and all, there should be a database and the table, right? So the administrators are the one who have created it. But users, they will just interact. They won't do, like they cannot do any modification or any other stuffs. Okay, so මේ වගේ එකක් තමයි නිකන් interface එකක්. Even now මේක ගත්තාම Facebook එහෙම ගත්තාම ඔයා සමහරට ඒකේදී operator වගේ. ඒ කියන්නේ ඔයා insert කරනවා, delete කරනවා, ඒ දේවල් කරනවනේ. So you are like a kind of operator. Okay, so types of database users are there. Like as we learned, database administrator, they are the one who will be having all the administration authorities. Okay, එයාට පුළුවන් delete ඕනේ නම් database එකම නැති කරලා දාන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, destroy කරන්න පුළුවන්. එමත් නැත්නම් table එකක් remove කරන්න ඕනේ නම් කරන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, அவங்களுக்கு ஒரு table தேவையில்லைன்னு சொன்னா remove பண்ணி போடலாம். அப்படி இல்லாட்டி ஒரு database வேணும்னு நினைச்சா அதே இல்லாம ஆக்கிடலாம். எல்லா விதமான பவருமே வந்து இருக்கிறது யாருக்கு? Database administrator. And then database designers are the one who will be designing it. Okay, so designers කියලා කියන්නේ නිකන් ඒක design කරන කෙනා. End users means we, me and you guys, just users. Okay, and system analysis and application programmers are the one who will be like programmers, system analyst. මෙයා මේ කට්ටි මොනවද කරන්නේ නම් මේ database use කරන කට්ටි. Okay, program analyst උනත් programming application program එකක් හදන උනත් you have to interact with the database. Okay, system analyst කෙනෙක් උනත් you have to have the interaction with the database. So there are kind of people those who use database. So database administrator, the person responsible for authoring, okay, access to the database. So he will the one who will be having the authority to access the database, coordinating and maintaining the users. Okay, and then also acquiring the softwares and hardware resources as needed. කියන්නේ softwares needed මොනවාද මේකට ඕනේ, hardware මොනවාද ඕනේ, RAM එක වැඩියෙන් දාන්න ඕනේද, hard disk එක වැඩියෙන් දාන්න ඕනේද, capacity එක අඩු කරන්න ඕනේද, වැඩි කරන්න ඕනේද, මේ ඔක්කොම බලන්නේ කවුද? මේ administrator කියන කෙනා. And then database administrators duties includes, okay, එයාට මොනවාද development and designing database strategies ඔක්කොම කරන්නේ මෙයා. monitor කරන්න ඕනේ, improve කරන්න ඕනේ database performance capacity එක, planning, okay, future expansions requirement. ඒ කියන්නේ future වලට දැන් හිතන්නකෝ දැන් දරාස් එක කරනවා නම් දරාස් ඕන නැත්නම් දරාස් වෙබ්සයිට් එක ඩෙවලොප් කරපු කෙනා තමයි ඒ වෙබ්සයිට් එකේ database එකට administrator කෙනෙක් විදියට ඉන්නේ නේද? Because they are the one who will be planning further අපි future එකේ කොහොමද මේක expand කරන්නේ, තව ටිකක් ලොකු කරන්නේ කොහොමද, ඒ ඔක්කොම එයා තමයි plan කරන්න ඕනේ. storage structure එක කොහොමද access කරන්න ඕනේ, modify කරන්න ඕනේ, ඔක්කොම මෙයා තමයි කරන්නේ. And then schema, physical organization modification. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ database එක දැන් physical modification කියලා කියන්නේ in one company there could be like flows, right? flows තියෙන්න පුළුවන්නේ அப்படின்னு சொன்னா ரெண்டு மூணு தட்டி ஈக்கலாம். ஏன்னா ஒரு ஃப்ளோஸ் வந்து ஈக்கலாம், ரெண்டு மூணு ஸ்டெப் ஸ்டேர்ஸ் எல்லாம் ஈக்கலாம். அப்ப ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஃப்ளோல வந்து ரெண்டு மூணு கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் ஈக்குது, ரெண்டாவது ஃப்ளோலயும் ரெண்டு மூணு கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் ஈக்குன்னு வைங்க. ஸோ இந்த கம்ப்யூட்டர்ஸ் எப்படி இந்த டேட்டா பேஸோட கனெக்ட் ஆக பாக்குது, அது எல்லாமே வந்து அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டர் தான் அதெல்லாம் முடிவு பண்ண வேணும். And specifying integrity construction specification ඒ කියන්නේ specify කරලා මේ construction එක අපි කොහොමද means interface construction ඒ වගේම integrity construction ඒ කියන්නේ අපි කොහොමද මේ construction එක කරන්නේ. Okay, if we just needed to add another field into it, or if we just needed to add another like a key, or else like an alternative field into it, then what we can do, all these stuff has to be taken, the decision has to be made by whom? The administrator. Okay, admin එයා තමයි admin. Okay, so and then responsible, all the responsibility. Okay, එයාට responding to change and recommend මෙයාට තමයි respond, මෙයා විතරයි respond කරන්නේ කොහමද, මොනාරි change කරන්න ඕනේ නම් එයාට විතරයි කරන්න පුළුවන්. නිකන් users ලා can we just go and do the changes in the Dara's database? No, we can't do it. Even the users cannot do it. Only the administrator can change, they can add, and all this operation can be done by them only. And then we call these database designers. They are responsible for identifying the data to be stored in the DB and for choosing the appropriate structure to represent and store those data. That means assume that now the Dara's administrator, they have created the database, now they have already done the tables, they are giving it to someone called database designer. They are the one who will be inserting the images, the details, because administrator they can't just sit and insert all the things like then then හිතමුකෝ මේ website එකට ගියා කියලා කියමු. Dara's website එකට I'll show you. okay, so now see පුතා ළමෙන් බලන්න මේකේ තියෙනව නේද electronical devices, this is one table, electronic accessories, this is one table, understood. මේ වගේ හැම එකක්ම database එකේ තියෙන tables. So administrator is the one who has decided මේ වගේ table එකක් තියෙන්න ඕනේ, මේ table එකටත් මේ වගේ semi tables තියෙන්න ඕනේ, මේකටත් මේ වගේ sub කියන්නේ categories තියෙන්න ඕනේ කියලා එයාලා තමයි decide කරලා තියෙන්නේ. So then මම ඔයාලට පෙන්නන්නම්. නිකන් අපි මෙහෙම scroll down කරලා බලනකොට එහෙමත් නැත්නම් අපි category එකකට ගියා කියලා හිතමු. electronical okay audios කියන එකට යනම්කෝ portable players. Now I am in one table. මේ portable players කියන table එකට ගියාම you will see all these pictures with the data. But මේ data හැම එකක්ම insert කරන්නේ කවුද? Database designers. Okay. So they will sit and just insert කියලා design insert කරගෙන ඉන්න එක delete කරනවා නම් දැන් ඒ බඩු ඉවරයි නම් එයා delete කරන්න පුළුවන්, update කරන්න පුළුවන්, අලුතින් මොනාරි product එකක් આવුතින්. All these things are who are the one who is doing? The designer. Okay, here. So now in one table here, these details, the image, the price. Okay, බලන්න මේ හැම එකක්ම කවුද display එඩ් කරන්නේ? Database designers. So this is in one table you have these fields. බලන්න මේක එක product එකක්. Okay, මේ වගේ මේ තව product, මේ වගේ තව product. ඒ වගේ ඔක්කොම තියෙන්නේ එක table එකකින්. මේ දේවල් ඔක්කොම බලා ගන්න පුළුවන් table එකකින් තියලා මේ වගේ මේක දැන් user මම බලනවානේ මේක. Then I am a user. விளங்கிச்சா? இப்போ நான் இதை பார்க்கறனால just I am not a database designer. I can't add any images like this. මට ඕනේ නම් ගිහින් ෆොටෝ එකක් අප්ලෝඩ් කරලා මෙහෙම rechargeable bluetooth USB FM radio එකක් තියනවා කියලා මට දාන්න පුළුවන්ද? No, I can't do it because only the database designers have that ability to do. Understood? Now let's see the use of end users. Okay, end users කියන්නේ කවුද කියලා අපි බලමු. end users ලා කියන්නේ ඔයාලා වගේ නැත්තම් මං වගේ කට්ටියට තමයි කියන්නේ. So මෙයාලා මොනවද කරන්නේ? මෙයාලට පුළුවන් querying කරන්න, update කරන්න පුළුවන්, ඒ වගේම generate කරන්න පුළුවන් reports, ඒ වගේ දේවල්. Just users. So primarily the database exists for whom? So these people. end users ට කියලා තමයි මේ database එකම තියෙන්නේ. දැන් Daraz එකේ මේක තියෙනවා database එකක් හදලා තියෙනවා නම් කාටද ඒක හදලා තියෙන්නේ? For us. Just for the database user, end users. Okay, so අපිට access කරන්න පුළුවන්, අපිට ඕනේ නම් ඒක ඕනේ නම් අපිට add to cart දීලා එහෙම query කරන්න පුළුවන්, update කරන්න පුළුවන් අපිට ඕනේ දෙයක්. ඒ වගේ තමයි මේ database එක වැඩ කරන්නේ. Understood? So end users ලා කියලා කියන්නේ just the users. Okay, those who are the like you are updating your profile picture, your status, so you are doing something in your like updating the database. Understood? Now WhatsApp එකේ ඔයා profile picture එක change කරා නම් already ඒ field එකේ ඔයාගේ phone number එකට තියපු අර image එක change වෙලා you are updating another picture. That's what you are doing. Understood? So database එක end users ට තමයි usually create කරලා තියෙන්නේ for them only. For us only they have created these databases. Okay, that is the main purpose. And then there are 4 types of end users. So we can call these end users වලින්ම තියෙනවා users ලා. Okay, types. Okay, so even in end users there are types. Okay, 4 types of end users are available. Like we can call them as casual end users, and then parametric end users, and then sophistical end users, and then standalone end users කියලා තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ casual end users කියලා කියන්නේ like people who occasionally access to the DB, like top level managers. ඒ කියන්නේ දැන් සමහර companies වල තියෙනවා දැන් අපි ගැට්වික් කොලෙජ් එක එහෙම නැත්නම් ලොකු කම්පැනි එකක් ගමුකෝ. So එහෙ ඉන්න managers ලා occasionally කොහොම හරි එක ගිහින් බලනවනේ DB එක කොහොමද තියෙන්නේ, database එකේ කොහොමද දැන් Daraz manager උනත් එයා ගිහින් බලනවා කොහොමද database එකේ upgrade වෙලා තියෙනවද නැත්නම් තියෙන බඩු එකමද දැන් ගොඩාක් කල් ඒකමද තියෙන්නේ, අලුතෙන් මොනාරි update කරලා තියෙනවද, ඒ ඔක්කොම බලාගන්නේ කවුද? මේ casual users. Okay, so then parametric end users කියලා කියන්නේ people who constantly querying and updating the database. Okay, so then reservation clerk or an airline hotels එක කියන්නේ මේ වගේ users ලා usually then airlines එකේ එහෙමත් නැත්නම් hotels වල කොහමද database එකේ එනවා කට්ටිය එනවා ඊට පස්සේ යාලා query කරනවා book කරනවා and then සමහර විට යාලා යනවා එතකොට ආයෙත් යාලාව නම් update කරන්න වෙනවා තවස් දෙකක් තායි ඉන්න ඕනේ නම් එයාලා update කරනවා. So මේ වගේ තැන්වලදී තියෙන අර databases පාවිච්චි කරන කට්ටියට අපි කියනවා parametric end users කියලා. And sophisticated end users කියලා කියන්නේ users who access DB for their complex requirement. ඒ කියන්නේ engineers ලා, scientists ලා, එයාලා සමහර DBs තියෙනවා, සමහර databases තියෙනවා complex requirements. ආලා දැන් scientists ලා එහෙම ගොඩාක් දැන් NASA එකේ එහෙම මේ වගේ databases තියෙනවා. ඒ users ලා මොනවද කරන්නේ? complex requirements විතරක් access කරන්න විතරයි එයාලා ඒ databases access කරන්නේ. And then standalone end users කියලා කියන්නේ users who maintain personal DBs. Okay, shop owners. For an example, shop owners කියලා කියන්නේ එයාලටම දැන් ඔයාලගේ ගෙදර හරි නැත්නම් ඔයාලගේ තාත්තියම් කවුරු හරි අයියා හරි shop එකක් තියෙනවා නම් එයාලා දැන් පොතක් තියාගෙන ඉන්නවා කියලා හිතමුකෝ, just to write down the incomes and outgoings and everything. So then that is just a normal database. So instead of having just a paper and a pen, they can have like a access program, access database, or else Excel එකේ තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ database එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් එයාලට. Okay, shop owners ලගේ. එතකොට කවුද මොනවාද බඩු ආවේ, customers ලා කවුද ආවේ, දේවල් ඔක්කොම. එහෙම නැත්නම් we can call it as like a payroll system. Okay, customer details system. මොනාරි ඒ වගේ එකක් තියාගන්න පුළුවන් shop owners ලට. So these are the users. And then database design process. Then අපිට තියෙන්නේ object based logical models, record based logical model, physical model කියලා එකක් තියෙනවා. මේක යන්න කලින් let's get into the PDF. Now as you guys can see, then ඔයාලට දන්නවා foreign key දේවල් ඔක්කොම දන්නවනේ. Now you guys know what is foreign key and other all these stuffs you know. Now it is time for us to design the database. Okay, design එකක් කරනවා නම් you have to know how we can design a database. For that only we're going to learn this entity relationship model. Okay, so here this is just a module I will be teaching you. Now look at this. So this is a PDF. So I don't have the presentation with me. I'll just share the PDF with you. So see, ER diagram කියලා කියන්නේ entity relation models කියලා. So then if you are about to design or else develop a database, you have to definitely know this design. Then requirement gather කරන්න කියන්නේ කවුරු හරි එක්කෙනෙක් එයාලගේ requirement එක මේකයි කියලා කියන එක. Logical design එකකට තමයි ඔයා මේ entity relation model එක ඉගෙන ගන්න ඕනේ. So here only we will be using these primary key, all the other stuffs. So then a detailed logical representation of a data, relationship and attributes of entities for an organization or for a business area. It is a graphical representation of ER diagram model, ER model. Okay, කියන්නේ ER model කියලා කියන්නේ එක business එකකට හරි නැත්නම් organization එකකට graphic logically represent කරලා පෙන්නනවා මේ වගේ තමයි මේ tables තියෙන්න පුළුවන් මේකේ මේ දේවල් තියෙනවා කියලා present කරන එකට තමයි relation එක මොනවාද තියෙන්නේ මේ හැම එකක්ම graphically represent කරලා පෙන්නන එකට තමයි අපි කියන්නේ entity relation model කියලා. Is it clear? So here as you can see student කියලා table එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියමුකෝ. Student ID කියලා field එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. So this comes under what ID? What key? Student ID. නිකන් කියන්න. Student ID කියන්නේ
primary key.
Very good. Student name is just a normal, isn't it? It's not a primary key or any key. It's just a logical key. Okay, නිකන් logical field එක. Address, student address. And then we have college. Okay, so student that college එකටත් තියෙන relation එක මොනවාද? Study in. So this we call this as the diamond shape as what relation. Okay, එතකොට student க்கும் இந்த காலேஜுக்கும் இருக்கிற ரிலேஷனை காட்டுறதுக்கு தான் நாங்க வந்து பொதுவா இந்த diamond shape வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். So here we call this as entity and then we call this as I'll be showing. Okay, there are separate slides for it. We call this as relation and then we call this as entity. Again this is attributes. Okay, entity කියන්නේ දැන් student කෙනෙක් study කරනවා in a college. එතකොට ස්ටුඩන්ට් කියලා ID එකක් තියෙනවා මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් මේ ID එකේ තියෙන මේ ස්ටුඩන්ට් එයාගේ නම මේක එයාගේ ඇඩ්‍රස් එක මේක මෙයා මේ කොලෙජ් එකේ ස්ටඩි කරනවා මේ කොලෙජ් නේම් එක තමයි මේක මේ වගේ තමයි මේ රිලේෂන් ඩේටාබේස් එක අපි ක්‍රියේට් කරගන්නේ ඩ්‍රෝ කරගන්නේ. So this is just a small example. Let's get back here. Okay, now you have to know the symbols. Okay, නම් මම symbol ගැන තමයි ඔයාලට කියලා දෙන්න යන්නේ. so entity relational database එකක් ඔයාලා design කරනවා නම් ඒක design කරන්න ඔයා graphically තමයි design කරන්න ඕනේ. You can't just write it down. So graphically design කරන්න ඕනේ නම් ඒකට shapes ටිකක් තියෙනවා. මේ box වගේ නැත්නම් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් rectangle වගේ තියෙන මේ shape එකට අපි කියනවා entity කියලා. Okay, entities කියලා කියන්නේ it could be a student or a student. අපි මොනව ගැනද මේ table එක හදන්න යන්නේ? ඒකට තමයි ඔයා මේ වගේ entity කියලා එකක් හදාගන්න ඕනේ. For orders or else college, course, book, lecturer, assignment මේ වගේ ඔයා table එකක් හදනවා නම් ඒ table නම තමයි මේ entity එකට අපි දෙන්නේ. හරි? And then මෙයාට කියලා attribute එකක් තියෙනවනේ. දැන් මේ student කියලා entity එකක් තියෙනවා නම් name කියන එක එයාගේ attribute එකක්. address කියන්නේ එයාගේ attribute එකක්. phone number කියන්නේ එයාගේ attribute එකක්. ඒ වගේම student ID කියන්නේ එයාගේ attribute එකක්. NIC ID කියන්නේ එයාගේ attribute එකක්. මේ වගේ දේවල් වලට අපි කියනවා attributes කියලා. එතකොට ඒ attribute එක represent කරන්න අපි oval shape එක තමයි පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. Again when it comes to relationship කියලා තව එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තමයි මේ entities දෙකකට තියෙන සම්බන්ධය පෙන්වන එක. බලනිච්චා ரெண்டு entities இருக்குதுன்னு இல்லாட்டி மூணு entities இருக்குதுன்னு எத்தனை entities இடையிலும் இருக்கிற ரிலேஷனை காட்டுறதுக்காக வேண்டி நாங்க பாவிக்கிறது தான் இந்த ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்னு சொல்ற இந்த diamond shape එක. හරි? එතකොට බලන්න student enrolled in course. එතකොට ඔයාලා දැන් මොනවද students ලා? ඔයාලා මේ course එක database management system කියන මේ course එක follow කරනවා. So then you are enrolling in this course. එතකොට ඔයාලට කියලා ID එකක් තියෙනවා, ඔයාලට නම තියෙනවා, ඔයාලගේ address එක තියෙනවා, මේ ඔක්කොම details තියෙනවා. මේ course එකට කියලා duration එකක් තියෙනවා, මේ course එකට කියලා නමක් තියෙනවා නේද? ඒ වගේම lecturer කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ දේවල් ඔක්කොම it comes under what? Course entity. So those are attributes of course entity. Is it clear? එතකොට attribute, entities, relationship මේ තුනම තමයි ER diagram එකේ තියෙන symbols. ඒ වගේම මේක තමයි අපි mainly පාවිච්චි කරන්න යන්නේ diagram එක draw කරගන්න. Okay, I hope you got it. Then මම ඔයාලට entity කියන්නේ මොනවද කියලා clearly කියලා දෙන්නම්. An entity is a person, it could be a person or else it could be a place or else an object, event or concept in the user environment about which the organization wishes to maintain the data. තේරුණාද? දැන් සමහරට ඒක person කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ student, employee ඒ වගේ. place එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. college එහෙමත් නැත්නම් country මොනාරි එකක්. object එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. මොනාරි object එකක්. දැන් හිතමුකෝ equipments වලට කියලා book එකක්. book details කියන්නේ ඒක object එකක්. event එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ කියන්නේ සමහර විට මොනාරි අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් follow මොනාරි ඒ වගේ එකක්. follow කරනවා කියන්නේ ඒක event එකක්. concept එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේ අර ඕගනයිසේෂන් එකට ඕන වෙන දේවල් තියෙනවනේ. එයා මොන එක මේන්ටේන් කරන්න ඕනේ කියලා හිතනවා කියන බලලා ඒකට අදාළ අපි හදාගන්න එකට තමයි කියන්නේ entity කියලා. Okay, person කෙනෙක්ව represent කරන්න පාවිච්චි කරන්න පුළුවන්, place එකක් represent කරන්න, object එකක් represent කරන්න, event එකක් නැත්නම් concept එකක් represent කරන්න we can use this rectangular shape. These are okay, they are represented by rectangles. Okay, this is clear? Entity කියන්නේ මොනවාද කියලා තේරුණාද? වැලංගිචා entity ன்னு சொன்ன என்னண்டு? Shall we move to the attribute? තේරුණාද? entity න්න என்னண்டு වැලංගිචා? Is it clear? Shall we move to the attribute?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now Puta, when it comes to attribute, as I was explaining, it is a property or characteristic of an entity type. So then they are represented by ovals, and then each attributes attached by straight line to its entity type or relationship type. That means entity එකකට අදාළ එකක් තමයි මේ attribute කියන්නේ. We can't just draw and keep a attribute by side. Okay, so it has to be attached with what? Either with entity or else relationship. So then entity එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ entity ගැන කියන දෙයක්. Okay, so then අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් දැන් student කියලා entity එකක් තියෙනවනේ, student ID කියන්නේ attribute එකක්, student name කියන්නේ attribute එකක්. එයා ගැන කියන දේවල්. Okay, එතකොට person කෙනෙක් ගැන කියනවා නම් ඒක එයාගේ name, address ඒ දේවල් වෙන්න පුළුවන්. place එකක් ගැන කියනවා නම් නැත්නම් object එකක් කියලා ගැන කියනවා නම් එයා අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන් name, ID එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම size, colors නේද? දැන් අපි දරාසික ගත්තාම all these things are like objects නේද? Whatever that they have posted object. So we can have things like the measurement, everything comes under attributes. So then even in attributes, Puta, there are types of attributes. Now, as I was explaining about these keys, can you remember? A key එකම තමයි මෙතන attribute කියලා දීලා තියෙන්නේ. Simple attribute, composite attribute, derived attribute, single value attribute, multi-valued attribute, key attributes කියලා තියෙනවා. So we'll just go through one by one. බලන්න. Single value attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ just a simple value. Okay, simple attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ just a simple attribute. An attribute that cannot be broken down into component parts. Employee number කියලා කියන්නේ just a simple attribute එකක්. Can we just divide it into like employee number 1, employee number 2 කියලා තියෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? දැන් ඔයාලට registration number එකක්ද තියෙන්නේ නැත්නම් දෙකක් තුනක් තියෙනවද? You have one register number, right? For this course, you have only one register number. Can we just divide it into 2 or 3? Can't, right? එතකොට එක value එකක්. ඒක අපිට break down කරන්න පුළුවන්. We cannot just broken it down into components. Okay, so only one value. So we call these kind of attributes as simple attribute කියලා. And then there is something called composite attribute. Composite attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ an attribute that can be subdivided into component parts. Okay, so when it comes to name, we can have first name, mid name, last name. So these like this kind of a attribute is known as composite attribute. Ek attribute එකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒක අපිට furthermore divide කරන්න පුළුවන්. We can just break it down into parts. விளங்கிச்சா? ஸோ ஒரு attribute ஒன்று ஈக்கலாம். ஆனா அதையுமே எங்களுக்கு இன்னும் 2-3 வந்து பிரிச்செழும்னு சொன்னா நாங்க அதுக்கு சொல்லுவோம் composite attribute කියලා. Can you give me some other examples? Instead of giving name, any other examples? Name නැතුව මේ වගේ composite attribute එකට කියන්න බලන්න. சொல்லலுமா composite attribute க்கு வேற examples? Name, first name, mid name, last name divide பண்ணலாம். வேற என்னது divide பண்ணலாம்? Phone number, can we divide it into like this? Phone number? Just think about it. Phone number. No, address. Afnan, very, very good. Address. Line 1, isn't it? Address, line 1, line 2. එහෙම තියෙනව නේද? Surname, yeah, surname, that means surnames come and somehow put a මේ name එකේ දාන්න ඕන ඒකත් දාන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, even in the name you can just edit, isn't it? Name එකට තව attribute එකක් විදිහට surname, first name, mid name, last name කියලා. Any other? Address is correct. Address also can be divided, right? In like a composite key එකක් වගේ තමයි address කියන්නේ නේද? Because you can divide it in furthermore. Any other ideas? No. Okay, let's check. Okay, let's see. Then attribute, then composite attribute, you better take it down. Simple attribute කියලා දාගන්න. Take it down. Shall I give you time to write it down? Simple attribute කියන්නේ an attribute that cannot be broken down into component parts. That is known as simple attribute. Take it down, okay? Have you wrote it? ලියාගත්තා නම්? Yeah, qualifications. Qualification, it comes under another kind of an attribute. I'll explain it, okay? Not under composite attribute, but it is in another attribute. I'll explain, okay? There's another attribute where we can add qualification. We can say ID number is, we can't, yeah, ID number is a simple attribute. It's not a composite attribute. Simple attribute එකක් තමයි ID number කියන්නේ. We can't divide it furthermore නේ පුතා. ID number එක. ID number 1 2 3 කියලා හැම තියන්න බෑනේ. Address තියන්න පුළුවන්. Name we can composite it. But okay, we'll think about it. So now take it down. Composite key එකට ඔයාට name ලියා ගන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් address ලියා ගන්නත් පුළුවන්. Composite attribute is that can be subdivided. Okay, take it down. Shall I move to the other slide? Shall we? Is it done? Have you taken it down? ලියාගත්තද? මට දන්න ඔයාලා ලියා ගන්නවද නැද්ද කියලා, but definitely you have to take it, write it down, because later on you're going to do some practices in order to develop a, or else design a database. You have to know this, okay? එහෙනම් අනිවාර්යෙන් මේක ලියා ගන්න. මම ඔයාලට questions දෙනවා. ඒ questions, okay, portrait. Now it comes derived attribute. So this derived attribute කියලා කියන්නේ an attribute whose value can be calculated from another attribute. Then සමහර attributes තියෙනවා මේ annual salary එකෙන් ඉඳලා basic salary එක බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්ද නැද්ද? Date of birth කියලා දීලා තිබ්බොතින් එයාගේ age එක කීයද කියලා බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්ද නැද්ද? Can. So these kind of attributes are known as derived attribute. From one attribute we can calculate and get another attribute. If the only one attribute is needed, from that we can derive and get another attribute. තේරුණාද? දැන් අපි ෆෝන් එකේ එහෙම තමයි. දැන් අපි මොනාරි අපිටම කියලා ප්‍රොෆයිල් එකක් හදනවා කියලා හිතමුකෝ. So we just give our date of birth. But later on, sometimes you might get a notification on your birthday saying that congratulations or else happy birthday for your 20th birthday or celebrating your 20th birthday. So how do they know? You have not given your age, but they are getting it from the derived attribute. Yeah, they are calculating from the date of birth and getting a derived attribute. Melangicha. Basic annual salary inch annual salary in the basic salary level like so the madritan in the derived attribute when the work out. So an entity will have attribute. So from that attribute we can get another attribute, a derived one of that same entity. බලන්න ස්ටුඩන්ට් ගේ ඒජ් එක තමයි අපි බලන්න යන්නේ. date of birth එක තිබ්බනම් එයාගේම ඒජ් එක කීයද කියලා බලා ගන්න පුළුවන්. I hope you understood. ලියාගත්ත නම් හොඳයි. ලියාගත්තද කියලා කියන්න. So then we can move to the next slide. If you have wrote it down, just let me know. Done. Everyone, please take it down, because it's going to help you a lot in your future. Multi-valued attribute. So we learned about simple attribute, okay, and then composite attribute, and then we learned about derived attribute. Then now comes multi-valued attribute. So multi-valued attribute කියලා කියන්නේ මේ attribute එකේ එක value එකක් තියෙන්න බෑ. Like multiple values can be there. So earlier you were telling about this qualification, skill, phone number and all, right? Phone number තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Phone number දෙකක් තුනක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. We can't divide it, but we can have 2-3 phone numbers. නේද? එකම employee කෙනෙක්ට එකම phone number එකක් තියෙනවා කියලා කියන්න බෑනේ. නේද? එයාට දෙකක් තුනක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. Skill, when it comes to skill. So he might can sing, he might can dance, he might can draw, he might can do like run or something, like skills, isn't it? So not only one skill, they can have multiple skill. So we call it as multi-valued attribute. Okay. So qualification, when it comes to qualification, someone was telling qualifications can be added to the what composite attribute. No, it cannot come in the cannot come under composite attribute, but instead of that we can add it into the multi-valued, because one employee can have degree, diploma, AL, OL, masters, PhD, isn't it? Not only in one subject, in several subjects they can have PhD. So qualification is also what? Multi-valued attribute. So take it down this, okay? So then මෙතන බලා ගන්න ඔයාලා මේ attributes හැම එකක්ම represent කරනකොට මේක නිකන් line එකක් විදිහට තමයි simple attribute එක තියෙන්නේ. When you are compositing it, you have to composite it by like this. From one attribute you have to composite it like this. And then derived attribute එකක් ලියනවා නම් ඔයා derived කරලා ගත්ත එක මේ වගේ dotted line එකේ තමයි you have to mention it, okay? මේක make sure කරගන්න මෙහෙම නිකන් මේ විදියට නැතුව නිකන් ඔයාට represent කරන්න බෑ. Even when it comes to ER diagram, you have to represent it by this, okay? Derived කරලා අරන් තියනවා කියන එක පෙන්වන්න ඕනේ. And multi level එකට අනිවාර්යෙන් මේක බලා ගන්න, you have to have double line, okay, like this. ඒකයි මං ලියා ගන්න කියලා කියන්නේ. Okay, that's why I'm asking you to take it down in your book, because later on this is going to help you when you are designing the ER diagram. So multi-level attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ you can have 2 lines. And then key attribute. Key attribute is a unique characteristic of an entity. It's a primary key, as I was explaining earlier. Primary key, employee number, then we can say student number, registration number, payment ID, course code, all these. Uniquely identify කරන්න අපි පාවිච්චි කරන key එකට කියනවා primary key attribute කියලා. So then guys, key attribute එකක් කොහොමද represent කරන්නේ ඉන්නේ ER diagram කියන්නේ you have to underline it. See, now these has not been underlined, but when it comes to key attribute you have to underline it. Key make a key attribute කියලා පෙන්නන්න you have to underline the employee number or whatever the text that has okay inside the attribute. விளங்கிச்சா? ஸோ நீங்க கீ அட்ரிபியூட்னு சொல்லி இதை ரெப்ரசென்ட் பண்ணணும்னு நீங்க நினைச்சீங்கன்னா உள்ளுக்கிற டெக்ஸ்ட்டுக்கு கீழே வந்து ஒரு அண்டர்லைன் கட்டாயம் பண்ணப்படணும். பாருங்க இதுல எல்லாம் அப்படி இருக்குதா? Do you have, can you see something like that? None of this has an underline, but when it comes to key attribute, definitely you have to underline the key attribute. Then only the user or else the person who is looking at your ER diagram will understand this one has an ID, a primary key here. Understood? So if you wanted to represent the primary key, you have to underline it. So please take down this. If you are done with it, then we can move on to the next. Key attribute. Simple attribute, composite attribute, derived attribute, multi-valued attribute. Then we have key attribute. Shall we move to the other slide? If you are done with it, let me know. முடிஞ்சிச்சுன்னா சொல்லுங்க. இந்த எழுதி முடிஞ்சோன்னே சொல்லுங்க. Is it clear up to here? Key attribute වෙනකන් attribute කියන්නේ ඔයාගේ table එකේ එන අර fields වලට තමයි attribute කියලා කියන්නේ. හරි? Okay නේ. Well done. Now let's move to the single value attribute. Single value attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ contains a single value. So NIC කියන්නේ it's a single value. Okay? So NIC කියලා කියන්නේ එක්කෙනෙක්ට එක NIC එකක් තමයි තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. It's like not like a phone number නේද? phone number නම් දෙකක් තුනක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. NIC card එකක්, passport එකක් නම් සමහර විට like license and everything can be one. Only one only can be there, isn't it? So NIC is really a good example. Only one value can be given. சரியா? விளங்கிச்சா? So NIC ன்னு சொன்னா அது வந்து சிங்கிள் வேல்யூ. ஏன்னா ஒரே ஒரு வேல்யூ தானே எம்ப்ளாய்க்கு வந்து ஒரே ஒரு என்ஐசி கார்டு தான் நீக்கலாம். 2-3 என்ஐசியை வச்சு கொண்டு சீட் பண்ணலாமா? ஏலாதுன்னா அப்போ ஒரே ஒரு என்ஐசி கார்டு இருக்கிறதுக்கு நாங்க சொல்லுவோம் சிங்கிள் வேல்யூ அப்படின்னு சொல்லி. அப்ப it contains a single value. So you can just take it as an example. Now it's clear, right? So simple value, okay? And then we learned about composite, derived, multi-valued, key attribute, single value attribute. So all these attributes has to be mentioned when you are drawing your what we call the ER diagram. Okay? So single value තියන්නත් පුළුවන්, මේ වගේ composite තියන්නත් පුළුවන්, derived attribute තියන්නත් පුළුවන්, multi value attribute තියන්නත් පුළුවන්, key attribute also can be there, and single value attribute also can be there, and you have to know how to represent it. දැන් මම ඔයාලට කියලා දුන්නනේ dotted line තියෙනවා නම් මොනවාද? It's a multi-valued attribute. Neither, not a multi-valued attribute. What it is? It's a derived attribute. Neither, derived attribute එකක් නම් තමයි we represent it using a dotted border. So then multi-value na double line. Key na you have to underline, isn't it? Single value is just, and then normal simple value කියන්න තේ වගේමයි. Now relationship. Relationship, the logical association among entities is called relationship. They are represented by diamond, and each relationship is attached by straight line to its entity type. Then relation එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ as I was explaining entities දෙකකට තියෙන සම්බන්ධ. okay මොනවාද කියන එක පෙන්වන්න එක තමයි මේ relation කියන්නේ. okay விளங்கிச்சா ரிலேஷன் சொன்னா ரெண்டு entities இருக்கின்றவங்களே அந்த ரெண்டு entities-க்குமான சம்பந்தம் என்னதுன்னு காட்டத்தான் இந்த ரிலேஷன் சொல்ற இந்த diamond shape வந்து யூஸ் பண்ணுவோம். And also in order to show the connection in between them straight line එකක් පාවිච්චි කරලා you have to draw. okay so from this entity it has a connection, this is the connection, and with what entity. okay I'll show you an example like this. see entity එකක් තියෙනවා, it can have attributes, it has the relation with another entity that also can have attributes. here for an example real time example එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. student id කියලා තියෙන student කියලා entity එකක් තියෙනවා, study in college. okay so study in කියන එක relation එක. so student id කියන්නේ මොනවාද, මොන වගේ attribute එකක්ද ඒක? student id is what kind of an attribute it is? what is the attribute? tell me.
Single value.
Single value, very good. Not only single value. okay it's very good. single value attribute එකක් විදියටම it's a primary key attribute එකක් නේද පුතා? so here it has to be underlined නේ. and tell me student name කියන්නේ මොන වගේ attribute එකක්ද? student name we can tell student name as what kind of an attribute?
Main
but පුතා
that
no
main
I
value.
was explain main value කියලා එකක් තියෙනවද? did I explain something called main value? no, that's why I ask you to write it down. student name is what? no Nisha, it's not a primary key unique. no
Multi-value.
no multi-value. what is this? just now only I thought that even here name, first name, mid name, last name. what is this? what is this?
Composite.
Then this has to be what? student name. Can we divide it into student name like first name, mid name, last name? Can we do that? Can or can't? no secondary key and all. I didn't teach anything like that. you have to be clear with this. okay ඔයාලට දෙන් මං කියපු දේ තමයි දෙන් මං ඇහුවේ. okay දෙන් ටික වෙලාවකට කලින් තමයි මං මේ composite keys ගැන ඔක්කොම කියලා දුන්නේ. suddenly I asked you a question you cannot remember. see that's why I asked you to take it down. බලන්න composite key එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ you can divide it into further more attributes. student name එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ you can name it like you can divide it into like first name, last name, mid name. okay likewise address, what kind of a attribute it is? student address කියලා කියන්නේ
It's also a composite.
very good Putha. it is also a composite key because we can divide it like line 1, line 2, city, country, likewise, isn't it? so it can be divided furthermore. එතකොට ඒකටත් අපි කියනවා composite key කියලා. now when it comes to college entity කියන්න බලන්න college id කියන්නේ මොන වගේ key එකක්ද කියලා?
Single value.
college id single value, not only single value. why do we need to have a college id field, Putha? primary key, I was explaining about the key attribute. Can you remember? uniquely identify කරන්න. okay so it has to be underlined නේද? underline කරා නම් මේක primary key එකක්. primary key එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොන එකටද? දැන් colleges ගොඩක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. particularly colleges දෙකක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන් with the same name, but to particularly like show that this is the college, then we can have something called college ID. Okay, student ID කියන්නත් ඒ වගේමයි, uniquely identify කරන්න primary key. Okay, so we can call it as key attribute. So college name, can we divide it into, did you just tell me what it comes under? What college name?
Ordinary key.
Ordinary. Did I explain something called ordinary, Puta? Ordinary කියලා මම මොනාර එකක් කියලා දුන්නද? I was explaining about simple attribute, composite attribute, derived attribute, multi-level attribute, and then key attribute and single value attribute. Now I am asking you, tell me, college name comes under what attribute? That's my question. Tell me. It comes under what attribute?
Key attribute.
College name key attribute there. How come? College name, how come it can come under key attribute? Because key attribute, okay, key attribute I was explaining Puta, key attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ uniquely identify කරන්න තමයි key attribute එක පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. Okay, so if there are two companies with the same name, okay, එතකොට ඒ same name දෙකම අපි පාවිච්චි කරා නම් it can be redundant. Okay, දෙක කියන්නේ එක්කනේ දැන් එක field එකකින් එක table එකකින් එක්කාව හරි uniquely දැන් ඔයාලට identity card එකක් එයි තියෙන්නේ, ඔයාව identify කරන්න, uniquely identify කරන්න. College name එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ simple value attribute එකක්. It cannot be further divided more. Simple. That attribute cannot be broken down into component parts because it is just a normal value. Neither college name එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ mid name, last name, first name කියලා divide කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? No. Then it cannot come under composite key. ඒ වගේම multi values තියෙනද මේකෙදි? Multi values. Do we have any multi values here? Can we have like college name මේකේ skills වගේ මේකේ multi values තියන්න පුළුවන්ද? No. Can we derive කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? college name එකකින් ඉඳලා වෙන මොනාර එකක් ගන්න පුළුවන්ද? No. Key attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ with the same college name there can be 2 or 3 colleges. Then හිතමුකෝ, for an example I'll tell you, Zahira College කියලා we have colleges even in Gampala or even in Colombo. Likewise, like Royal College gannako, we have colleges, isn't it? Not in the same name, but in different places, different like even some in countries also. Now Sri Lanka can have one college, the same college with the same name. Now high school and all, in some other school also they have the same college with the same name. Then we can't call it as key attribute. Okay, not even multi-value. Why is that? Multi-value කියන්න බෑ. Multi-value එකක් තියෙනවද මේකේ? College name එකේ multi-value කරන්න පුළුවන්ද ඔයාට? Can you take multi-value? Okay, you have to understand this first. Okay, single value. Okay, I'll just explain it again. Simple value. Simple attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ you cannot break it down anymore. It's just a single value. Okay, there won't be any other thing that you can divide it furthermore. So ඔයාට කියන්න පුළුවන් ඔයාගේ මේ entity relation එකේ තියෙන primary key එක කියන්නේ simple attribute එකක්. හරිද? Can we divide it into furthermore? Like employee number 1, employee 2 ඒ වගේ divide කරන්න පුළුවන්ද? No. It's just a simple value, one value. When it comes to composite key, if you have taken down it in a book, you might have remember. You were just telling few names which I even didn't explain. Okay, monado kiwa, but I didn't even explain. That's why I asked you to take it down. Then balanda composite key කියලා කියන්නේ one key can be divided into furthermore subdivided. Okay, subdivide කරන්න පුළුවන්. First name එක අපි divide කරනවා into first name, mid name, last name කියලා name එක. Okay, அந்த மாதிரியானதுக்கு நாங்க சொல்லுவோம் composite key ன்னு சொல்லி. இதே நாங்க derived ன்னு சொன்னா ஒரே ஒரு attribute ல இருந்து இன்னொரு இத வந்து எங்களுக்கு create பண்ணி கொள்ளலாம். இப்ப டேட் ஆஃப் பர்த் தந்தீங்கன்னு சொன்னா ஏஜ் வந்து எங்களுக்கே டிரைவ் பண்ணி எடுத்துக்கொள்ளலுமானதுக்கு நாங்க சொல்லுவோம் derived attribute ன்னு சொல்லி. multi valued attribute කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද? qualifications දෙකක් තුනක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. skills දෙකක් තුනක් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්. not only one. phone number කියන්නේ එක්කෙනෙක්ට 1 2 3 4 phone numbers can be there, isn't it? ඒත් NIC number තියෙන්න පුළුවන් දේ වගේ no. college name කියලා කියන්නේ now assume Gatwick college කියන්නේ college ගේ නම. Can we have 2 or 3 college names for Gatwick college? No. then multi level කියලා ඔයාලා කොහොමද කියන්නේ? key attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ uniquely identify කරන්න employee number. Now you have registration number. When you are getting registered to Gatwick College, they might have given you a number KAN නැත්නම් registration REG කියලා වෙලි number එකක් දුන්නද නැද්ද ඔයාලට? ඒකට අපි කියනවා registration number නැත්නම් key attribute කියලා කියනවා. Okay. So then නුස්කියා කියලා දෙන්නෙක් ඉන්න පුළුවන්නේ. ඒක redundant වෙනවා. එතකොට නුස්කියා කියලා දෙන්නෙක් දාලා assignment number එක දෙන්නටම assignment marks එක දෙන්නටම වෙන වෙනම දුන්නොත් isn't it? So that is why uniquely identify කරගන්න we give these key attributes. Okay, you have to make sure to remember this. Single value එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ it contain one value. You cannot divide it furthermore. You cannot do anything with this. There is no any derived values or anything. There is no any multi level values. There is no any composite values. Nothing. It's just a single value. Okay, so you can tell this as when I asked you this, you might have tell me this college name කියන එක නිකන් simple valued attribute කියලා කියන්න තිබ්බා ඔයාලට. ඇයි? simple value attribute එකක් මේක. college name කියන්නේ simple valued attribute එකක්. Isn't it? නැත්නම් single value attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්න තිබ්බා. That's it. Okay, so I hope you got it. So this is how the relation and then the entities attributes can be drawn. Okay, so for an example, we'll go to this one and now I'm going to ask you a few questions. Now you guys tell me. Now tell me, in this entity relation model, how many entities that you have? Entities எத்தனை ஈக்கின்ற என்கிட்ட சொல்லுங்க. Tell me, how many entities that you have in this entity relation model? Looking at this, tell me. Entities කීයක්ද තියෙන්නේ කියලා කියන්න. Very good, very good. Pulasti, Afnan, very good. 4 entities, isn't it? So now tell me how many relationships that you have. Relation. How many relations? Relations කීයක්ද තියෙන්නේ කියලා කියන්න. சொல்லுங்க பாக்க. Pulasti, very good. Afnan, 5. Any other answers? Okay. Okay, 5. Very good. Because here member of is one relation, leader of one relation, in one relation, perform one relation, runs one relation. Very good. Now tell me, student entity එකට තියෙන primary key attribute එක මොනවාද? student entity ல primary key attribute எது? key attribute வந்து எது? Very good. Student ID. Very, very good. Now tell me, which one is the composite key? What is the composite key in student? Name. Very, very good. Now, is there any single value? Single or simple value? Nothing single value. Yeah, student grade. Very good. Now tell me, is there any other attributes or as entities which is having composite key? Any other composite keys තියනවද? ටිකක් බලලා කියන්න. Composite keys තියනවද කියලා? වෙන මොනාරි? Very good. Left section class. Very good. Very good. So here class කියන්නේ it is a composite key. Semester, section, year, isn't it? Catalog number, all this comes under what? Class attribute. Now tell me guys, let's say team. Okay. Run number කියලා තියෙන attribute එක මොන වගේ attribute එකක්ද ඒක? Run number කියලා තියෙන එක. What kind of an attribute it is? Primary. key attribute නේද පුලස්ති very good පුලස්ති very good well done so now is it clear primary key attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද composite attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ මොනවාද for an example I'll in the even in the Google I'll just search for another ER diagram and show you you have to be clear with it okay let's search for yeah okay now okay this one has that look at this picture can you see this attribute this ER diagram sorry is it clear මේක ඔයාට පේනවද shall I save image as and I'll download it if it is not much clear but if not what we can do is I'll zoom in okay then you can see it okay just look at this ER diagram and tell me how many entities that has now this ER diagram has entities 4 very good now tell me there is one derived attribute and you guys tell me in which entity it has this derived attribute මොන entity එකේද derived attribute එකක් තියෙනවා okay බලන්න හොඳට බලලා කියන්න ඒ derived attribute එක මොන department very good Plastic. Very good department entity එකේ නේද what is the attribute what is the derived attribute can you tell me department එකේ තියෙන derived attribute එක මොන එකද කියලා ශාවල නැද්ද ශාවල නැද්ද yeah this is the one now tell me okay so what is the derived attribute yeah which one is the derived
Location.
attribute location derived attribute
Activity department.
uh-huh. entity එක department
Uh,
then derived attribute I'm asking about the attribute tell me Pata. Very good you just tell me plus T very good number of employee derived attribute I ask you to take it down derived attribute that's why I ask you to take it down now see later on I will give you many other works at that time you might face difficulties derived attribute එකක් මේ විදිහට තමයි represent කරන්න කියලා මම මේක ලියා ගන්න කියලා ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ ලියා ගන්න නැත්නම් somehow you might face struggle okay because you might not understand what you like dotted මේ වගේ දීලා තිබ්බොත් මේක එයි දීලා තියෙන්නේ කියලාවත් දන්නේ නැතුව ඇති derived attribute එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ ඒක represent කරන්න අපි මේ වගේ dotted underlines නැත්නම් dotted borders පාවිච්චි කරනවා කියලා I was explaining that thing Okay, Pulasti, correct. He is the only one who is correctly answering. So number of employee is the derived attribute. Now tell me, is there is any other? Okay, in department, which one is the key attribute? Department entity එකේ තියෙන key attribute එක මොනවාද?
Name.
Name. Very good, very good. So it has been underlined නේද? ඒ වගේම department එකේ නෑ අපි කියමු department එකේ නෙවෙයි. So just tell me, is there is any multi-valued attribute? Multi-value attribute එකක් තියෙන්නේ? Yeah, location. What is the multi-value attribute, Palasti? Location. Very good. Location තමයි in department you have location, which is the multi-valued attribute. I was explaining multi-value attribute එකක් represent කරන්න you have to use what? Double lines, right? The border has to be represents like this. I was asking you several times to take down this because to remember. That is why I asked you. Make a බැලුවම අඩේ පොඩි දෙයක් මේක කියලා හිතන්න පුළුවන්. When I am asking you the questions only, you might struggle. That's why I was asking you to take down all these things. පොඩි දෙයක් නේ ලියා ගන්න. මේක draw කරන්න ලියා ගන්න කියලා ඒකයි මම කිව්වේ. Simple attribute is just a normal. We cannot divide it furthermore. We cannot break it down. But when it comes to composite key, you have to divide it. You can be able to divide it furthermore. When it comes to derived attribute, from one attribute you will be able to take another value. Multi-value skill can be multi values. That means for one person he can have one, not only one phone number, multiple phone number, not only one qualification, multiple qualifications likewise. And then key attribute, you guys know, identify කරන්න, uniquely identify කරන්න මේ වගේ uniquely identify කරන්න employee number, student number, registration number කියලා we can have the keys. Okay, that means key attributes. And then single value attribute. Single value attributes means contains only a single value. As I was asking you, okay, මෙතන මම අර college name කියලා අහුවනේ. So that is a single value attribute. That's it. Okay then. දන්නවා ඔයාලට. And then you know relationship කියන්නේ මොනවද කියලා. Okay. And make a multiplicity cardinality එක දැනට කියලා දැනවද? Okay, I'll just explain what is cardinality. Okay, so then you will understand this as well. Cardinality නැත්නම් multiplicity කියලා කියනවා. This tells the number of objects in one class is related to how many objects of the associated class. That means then එක entity එකෙන් ඉඳලා තව entity එකත් එක්ක අපි relation එකක් තියෙනකොට මොන වගේ relation එකක්ද මෙයාට තියෙන්නේ කියලා තමයි අපි මෙතන කියන්නේ. For an example, one husband can have only one wife. එතකොට අපි කියනවා ඒකට එහෙම නේද? ඒකනේ ඇත්ත. නේ husband can have only one wife, right? But sometimes it differ, like some people might have 2 or 3 wives as well, isn't it? So now for an example you can say කියන්නේ එක මේ entity එකේ 1-to-1 relation එකක් තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Understood? මේක now you know entities attributes ඔක්කොම දන්නවනේ. Then ඔයාලට දන්නවා entities have relationship in between them. But when it comes to even in entities, you have to maintain this relation මොන වගේ type එකද? 1-to-1 ද, 1-to-many ද, many-to-many ද කියන එක තියෙනවා. Right? So husband and wife के තියෙන අර relationship එක, one husband can have one wife. So 1-to-1 relation. One wife can have, at the same time, one wife can have one husband. So it both the side 1-to-1 relation. Football team එකක් ගත්තාම one football team can have many footballers. Okay, if we take one footballer, can he play in many football teams? No, in one football team only he can play at a time. Okay, at a time he can play make it play කරගෙන තව එකෙත් play කරගෙන ඉන්න පුළුවන්ද? No, right? So එක team එකේ ගොඩක් දෙනෙක් ඉන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ එක football player කෙනෙකුට එක ටීම් එකේ විතරක් තමයි ඉන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, not in multiple teams. And if we take one student as an example, එක student කෙනෙකුට many subjects තියෙනවා ඉගෙන ගන්න. If we take one subject, ඒ subject එක එකම එක ළමයෙක්ද ඉගෙන ගන්නෙ? No, not only one student is learning that. Many students are learning. Is it clear? One to one relation එකක් කියලා කියන්නේ entity මේ entity එකේ ඉඳලා එක්කෙනෙක්ව අපි අරන් බලනවා, ඒ එක husband කෙනෙක්ව අරන් බලනවා, ඒ දෙවෙනි entity එකක් තියෙන එක්කෙනෙක් එක්ක තියෙන සම්බන්ධ තියෙන නැත්නම් many එකක්ද කියලා. Understood? So from this side also we are picking one and checking, cross checking. Understood? So that is how this works. So I will just get back to this one and see. You guys tell me, in one department, okay, department of okay, we'll say assigned to departments. Okay, we'll say if we take one department, it can be assigned to one department. If we take one project, okay, sorry, if we take one project, can it be assigned to one department or many department? Tell me. ගොඩාක් ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට්ස් වලට අපි දීලා මේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එක හදලා දෙන්න කියලා කියන්න පුළුවන්ද? නැත්නම් එක ඩිපාර්ට්මන්ට් එකටද දෙන්නේ? One, Pulasti, very good. Only one department will take the project and we will give that project only for one department. නේද? இப்ப நீங்க வந்து ஒரு ஏதாச்சும் ஒரு project ஒன்று செய்யணும்டா, now we assume that you are about to design a website. Now you have the project, you can give it only to me, right? ඔයා මට තමයි දෙන්නේ. මං හිතන්නේ මං තමයි department එක head කියලා. then එයා මට තමයි දෙන්නේ. You won't give the same project to some others as well, නේද? මේක හදලා දෙන්න, මේක හදලා දෙන්න, මේ project එකක් තියෙන කියලා එමෝටම දෙන්නේ නැහැ. එක්කෙනෙක්ට තමයි දෙන්නේ. assign කරන්නේ එක්කෙනෙක්ට. But when we take one department, එක department එකේ එකම project විතරයිද තියෙන්නේ? නැත්නම් ඔයාට ගොඩාක් projects එන්න පුළුවන්ද? assign වෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? Tell me. many the one department එකක් ගත්තොත් ඒ department එකේ many. Very good. Very good. Now you got it, right? හරි. then කියන්න එක project එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒ project එකේ work කරනවා employees ලා. හරි. then අපි ගමු project එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකෙදි එක employee කෙනෙක්ද වැඩ කරන්නේ නැත්නම් manyද? many. Very good. then අපි එක employee කෙනෙක්ව ගත්තාම එයා එකම එක project එකේද වැඩ කරන්නේ නැත්නම් many. Very good. Now I hope you got the idea. விளங்கிச்சா உங்களுக்கு? clear ஆயிப்ப? Okay, I hope you understood. Now let's get back to this one and see the relation. Now see, student කියලා මෙතන entity එකක් තියෙනවා, team කියලා entity එකක් තියෙනවා. So what are the relations? Student, two relations are there, නේද? Student කෙනෙක් member of team also and leader of team also can be there. Now if we take one student, he or she can be member of one team or many team. then අපි ස්කෝලේ ගත්තාම in your school, assume that you might have teams, right? football team, cricket team, ඒ වගේ එක team එකේ විතරක්ද ඔයා play කරන්නේ නැත්නම් ගොඩාක් teams වලින් play කරනවද? many. Yeah, because cricket team එකේ ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්, football team එකේ ඉන්නත් පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් ඔයාට වෙන මොනාරි team එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඒකෙත් play කරන්නත් පුළුවන්. member කෙනෙක් විදියට ඉන්න පුළුවන්. The teachers won't tell you have to be a member of only in this team. You have to be a member only in football team. එහෙම කියන්නේ නැහැ නේද? No one will tell like this. Then you can be a member in many team. Now if we take one team, in one team, how many members would be there? Only one member or many members? Many, right? Very good. Many members would be there. Now we'll take the relation of the second relation. එක student කෙනෙක්ව ගත්තාම දැන් හිතමුකෝ දැන් එක student කෙනෙක් ඉන්නවා John කියලා. එයා leader of one team ද ඉන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් many teams තියෙනවනේ. ඒකේ ගොඩාක් teams වලට leader කෙනෙක් විදියට ඉන්න පුළුවන්ද එයාට? then cricket team එකෙත් leader, football team එකෙත් leader. Many Pita. Yeah, it should be many because one student, then හිතන්නකෝ Nuskia not only a leader in football team but also she is a leader in cricket team. isn't it? එහෙම ඉන්නවනේ ළමයි නේද? එකම ටීම් එකේ ටීචර් කියනවද? ඔයා මේ ටීම් එකේ විතරක් තමයි ලීඩර් කෙනෙක් විදියට ඉන්න ඕනේ. අනිත් ටීම්ස් වල ලීඩර් වෙන්නේ නැහැ. එහෙම කියනවද? No. You can be a leader in not only one team but in many teams. But when we take one team, එක ලීඩර් කෙනෙක්ද ඉන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් ගොඩාක් ලීඩර්ස් තියෙන්න පුළුවන්ද? Tell me. One leader, isn't it? So you have to make sure to understand this cardinal. Okay, cardinal show. Okay, so then we'll take another example. Okay, left section කියලා එකක් තියෙනවනේ. So we'll take team in, okay, left section in teams. Okay, so in one team, how many left sections can be there? If not, why Nisha? Why you are what? I didn't get you. Employees can be doing several projects in the early in this one. Employees can be, yeah, that's what we were explaining. Project, in one project there could be many employees. Yeah, that's what I was explaining, Nisha. And here, yeah, that's what I was explaining. One employee can work on many projects at the same time. In one project only, not only one employee would work, many employees would be there, isn't it? That's what I was explaining. So here, when you are looking at this itself, you have to understand. Then make ඔයාලට තාම තේරිලා නැහැ මම මේක කියවලා දුන්නේ නැහනේ. So here, can you see it has double line, and here n1 එහෙම දීලා තියෙනවනේ. So this is also something where we use in order to show one to one relation, the many to many relation, the නැත්නම් one to many relation the කියලා පෙන්නන තමයි we use something like this. Okay, so here when it comes to this, so since it has now, when we are assigning many, we won't use m. We, instead of using m, we use normally n. Okay, so if it is many to many only, we will use m and n. Okay, either this side or this side you can have m and n. See, now student leaders of team is what? One to many relationship. Okay, so here it has to be m and this should be 1. Okay, so then here student member of many to many. එතකොට m and n. මම මේක ඔයාලට පස්සේ කියලා දෙන්නම්. Don't much worry about it because somehow I'm going to like explain it again. Okay, let's get back to the PDF. And here, so sometimes it can be mentioned like this as well, just a straight line, or else you can mention it like this as well. Okay, 3 lines like this merge together වගේ ඔයාලට පෙන්වන්නත් පුළුවන්. එහෙමත් නැත්නම් නිකන් එකම line එකේ තියෙනවා නම් 1 to 1, 1 to many. See how it has been like connected, and here many to many. Okay, so later I'll teach you how you can assign 1 to 1, many to many කියන එක. මේක ඒක තමයි තියෙන්නේ. Okay, for an example, 1 to 1 එකේ බලන්න. In one school, one principal can be there. A principal can be work as a principal in only one school at a time. At a time. Okay, at a time තමයි බලන්න ඕනේ. මෙයා මේ ස්කෝලේ ඉඳලා වෙන ස්කූල් එකකට ගිහින් එහෙම වෙනවා නම් okay. ඒක අවුල නැහැ. කොහොමදත් මේ දෙකෙන්ම at a time he can't work as the principal in two school නේ. මේ ස්කෝලේ එයා තමයි principal, තව ස්කෝලයක් තියෙනවා ඒකෙත් එයා තමයි principal කියලා කියන්න බෑ. At a time, okay, at a time, one school, in one school, one principal only can work. At a time, you have to take this as, and I was explaining, at a time, one time, මේ වෙලාවේදී එක ස්කෝල් එකකින්, okay, එක principal කෙනෙක් තමයි ඉන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම දැන් මෙයා මෙහිඳලා රිටයර්ඩ් වෙලා හරි නැත්නම් මේකෙන් ඉඳලා එයා ගියා කියලා කියමුකෝ වෙන ස්කෝල් එකට. එතකොට එයා වෙන ස්කෝලේ වැඩ කරන කෙනෙක්. එතකොට ඒ වෙලාවේදී එයා ඒ ස්කෝලේට විතරයි principal. Understood? And in one country, one president can be ruled. Okay, a president can he go and rule all the other countries? At a time, he can rule only one country, isn't it? එක්කෙනෙක්ට country එකක් rule කරනවා නම් then ශ්‍රී ලංකාවේ president ශ්‍රී ලංකා රූල් කරන වගේම චයිනා many other countries රූල් කරන්න පුළුවන්ද ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට් කෙනෙක්ට? නෑ. He can rule only our country. Okay? ඒ වගේම country එකක් රූල් කරන්න වෙන්නේ එක ප්‍රෙසිඩන්ට් දෙන්නෙක් තුන් දෙනෙක් ඉන්න පුළුවන්ද? In one country. No, right? We cannot have multiple presidents. Only one president will be there. So one to one relation කියලා කියන්නේ this side also one relation only will be there, and then the other side we have to take both the side. Okay, pick one and just check, cross check. Okay, at a time මෙහෙම කොහමද වෙන්නේ කියලා. So that's how you draw or else write the relationship between the entities. So we have many other steps to be covered. Okay, many to many ඔක්කොම බලන්න ඕනේ, but we don't have much time. So I think hopefully this is enough. Up to this is enough today. So in the next class somehow I will be giving you homeworks. Okay, homework එකක් දෙනවා මම ඔයාට මේ සමහර දැන් ඔක්කොම කියලා දුන්නට පස්සේ ඔයාලා ER diagram එකක් draw කරලා මට පෙන්නන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ එකක් තමයි මම දෙන්නේ. I will give all my requirements. You have to gather the requirement, analyze it and come up with the ER diagram. So that's what I will be giving you in the next class hopefully. Today if you have any doubts related to today's session, you may ask me. Any doubts related to keys, primary key, ඔයාලට මම ගොඩක් keys කියලා දුන්නා. ඒ වගේම attribute කියන්නේ මොනවාද කියලා දුන්නා. entities කියන්නේ මොනවාද කියලා දුන්නා එන. அதே மாதிரி relation டு சொன்ன என்னன்னு பார்த்தோம். relationல one to one, one to many, many to many இந்த relation ஈக்கிறதையும் பார்த்தோம். நாங்க அது இன்னும் டீப்பா படிப்போம். Okay, in the next class we will deeply learn about these relations. Okay, don't worry much about it, but you have to remember this composite key. ඒ වගේම okay, so you have to make sure to understand about this composite key, simple value key, ඒ වගේම තියෙන attribute what not attributes, right? Okay, so when it comes to simple attribute and then composite attribute, multi valued attribute, derived attributes තියෙනවා, ඒ වගේම key attributes කියලා තියෙනවා, and then what you have simple attribute කියලා එකක්කුත් තියෙනවා නේද? So all these attributes if you have taken down, if you have write it down on a book or somewhere, you might have remembered when I was asking question. So please take it down in a paper or else in your book and then make sure to remember things. Okay, so then if you have any doubts you may ask me. Yeah, Shafka, do you have any doubts? අහන්න ළමයි ඔයාලට මොනවාරි doubts තිබ්බොත් අහන්න පුළුවන්.
மேடம் ஃபர்ஸ்டா ஒரு क्वेश्चन ஒன்று கேட்டிருந்தேன் கொஞ்சம்
என்ன புத்தா
அந்த ஃப்ரீலான்சிங்ல ஒர்க் பண்ணலாமா சொல்லி கேட்டு.
ஃப்ரீலான்சிங்ல வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ணலாம் சரியா புதா. இப்போ நீங்க இது படிச்சாலும் நீங்க இதை படிச்சுட்டு உங்களுக்கு ஒர்க் பண்ணலாம் சரியா. ஏன்னு சொன்னா ஃப்ரீலான்சிங்ல வந்து ஒவ்வொரு டேட்டாலையும் வந்து இப்போ டேட்டாபேஸ் கிரியேஷன்லயும் வந்து ஒவ்வொரு செக்ஷன்ஸ் இருக்கும் சரியா. அதுல வந்து நார்மலைசேஷன் செய்யறதுக்கு மட்டும் ER டயக்ராம் வரையறதுக்கு இப்போ ஒரு கம்பெனி ஒன்று எடுத்தோம்டா புத்தா, அதுல வந்து SQL குவரியில மட்டும் ஒர்க் பண்றார்கள் மீப்பாங்க. அதே மாதிரி டேட்டாபேஸ் அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டர், இப்போ நாங்கள் படிச்சு தந்த அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டர், டேட்டாபேஸ் டிசைனர்ஸ்னு சொல்லி அட்மினிஸ்ட்ரேட்டர்ஸ்னு வேற ஆக்கள் இருப்பாங்க. டேட்டா டிசைனர்ஸ் இப்போ டிசைனிங்ல எல்லாம் மீக்கும் நிறைய ஃப்ரீலான்சிங் ஜாப்ஸ் எல்லாம் அவைலபிள் ஆயிக்கும். இப்போ டராஸ்க்கு எல்லாம் வந்து நீங்க ஒரு டேட்டா டிசைனரா இருக்கலாம், அவங்க தர ப்ராடக்டை அப்லோட் பண்றது தான் உங்களோட வேலை ஆயிக்கும். ஸோ அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு கேட்டகரிஸ் இருக்குது. இப்போ நீங்க வந்து நீங்க எதுல நல்ல தரவு வைக்கிறீங்க, நீங்க எதுல வந்து நல்லா வந்து இப்ப டேட்டா பேஸ்லயுமே நீங்க இது SQL குவரி செய்யறதுலயா, இல்லாட்டி மேனுவல் டிசைன் பண்றதுலயா, இல்லாட்டி டேட்டா பேஸ் டிசைன் பண்றதுலயா, இல்லாட்டி வந்து நீங்க என்ன தியரிட்டிக்கல் பார்ட்லயா, ER டயக்ராம் டிசைனிங்லயா, லாஜிக்கல் டிசைனிங்லயா, பிசிக்கல் டிசைனிங்லயா, எதுல நீங்க நல்லா இருக்கிறீங்க, எதுல உங்களுக்கு நல்ல ஒரு கான்ஃபிடென்ட் இருக்கீன்னு பார்த்து அது ரிலேட்டடான ஒரு ஒர்க்ல வந்து உங்களுக்கு இன்வால்வ் ஆகலாம். கட்டாயம் உங்களுக்கு செய்யலாம். ஓகே, ஃபினான்சிங் கட்டாயம் செய்யலாம். பட் நீங்க வந்து தரோலி நீங்க எதுல நல்ல உங்களுக்கான இது ஒண்டிக்கின்னு பாருங்க. ஓகே, நீங்க நல்ல ஒரு உங்களுக்கு வந்து நீங்க பெஸ்டா வந்து எதுல இருக்கிறீங்க அப்படின்றத நீங்க தெரிஞ்சுக்கொண்டீங்கன்னு சொன்னா கட்டாயம் உங்களுக்கு ஒர்க் பண்ணலாம். ஓகே, at the end கட்டாயம் உங்களுக்கு ஃபுல் ஐடியா இருக்கும்.
ஓகே மேடம்.
ஓ மேடம், அந்த ஃபாரினுக்கு யூஸ் ஆகுமா மேடம்? ஃபாரின் போறதுக்கு கேக்குறேன்.
ஃபாரின் போறதெல்லாம் கட்டாயம் யூஸ் ஆகும் புத்தா. ஏன்னு சொல்லுங்களே, இப்ப நீங்க டேட்டா பேஸ் கட்டாயம் நீங்க தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும்னு சொன்னா, டேட்டா பேஸ் வந்து ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் டெவலப் பண்றீங்கன்னா நீங்க கட்டாயம் டேட்டா பேஸ் பத்தி தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். இப்போ ஃபாரின் கண்ட்ரீஸ்ல எல்லாம் எப்படின்னு சொன்னா புத்தா, இப்போ ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் கம்பெனி ஒன்றிக்கணும் வைங்களே, ஈவன் நான் ஃபார் எக்ஸாம்பிள் சொல்றேன் மைக்ரோசாஃப்ட்க்கு போயிட்டீங்கன்னா அங்க சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் மட்டும் இருக்க மாட்டாங்க. சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ்லயும் டிசைனிங்க்கு ஒரு ஆள் கழிப்பாங்க சரியா, ரிக்வயர்மெண்ட் கேதரிங்க்கு ஒரு ஆள் கழிப்பாங்க, ப்ராஜெக்ட் மேனேஜர்ஸ்னு சில ஆள் கழிப்பாங்க, ஒரு டீம் இருப்பாங்க. அப்புறம் வந்து டிசைனிங் டெவலப்மெண்ட்க்கு ஒரு ஆள் கழிப்பாங்க. அதே மாதிரி டேட்டாபேஸ் டெவலப்மெண்ட்க்கு ஆள் கழிப்பாங்க. டேட்டாபேஸ் டெவலப்மெண்ட்லயும் டேட்டாபேஸ் டிசைனர்ஸ் இருப்பாங்க, டேட்டாபேஸ் இன்ஜினியர்ஸ் இருப்பாங்க, டேட்டாபேஸ் குவரி கிரியேட்டர்ஸ் இருப்பாங்க. அந்த மாதிரி ஒவ்வொரு செக்ஷன்ஸ் இருப்பாங்க.
நிறைய செக்ஷன் இருப்பாங்க. சொல்லுங்க டீச்சர்.
அப்ப அது மாதிரி நீங்க உங்களுக்கு விருப்பம் இப்ப அதுல வந்து நீங்க உங்களுக்கு தேவையான நீங்க எதுல நல்ல தரம் வைக்கிறீங்களோ, நீங்க எதுல நல்லா உங்களுக்கு நல்ல ஸ்கில் எதுல நல்ல கூடுதல் ஆயிக்குதோ அதுக்கு நீங்க போகலாம் இல்லைங்கச்சா. இப்ப நான் வந்து பொதுவா இது எல்லாமே நான் படிச்சிக்கிறேன். ஓகே, ஏன்னா நான் ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர்னால எங்களுக்கு சாஃப்ட்வேர் மட்டும் படிச்சு தர மாட்டாங்க. டிசைன் பண்றது எப்படி, கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங் பண்றது எப்படி, அதே மாதிரி நீங்க எப்படி டேட்டாபேஸ் ஒன்று கிரியேட் பண்றது எப்படி, டேட்டாபேஸ்ல இன்சர்ட் பண்றது எப்படி, டேட்டா ஒரு சாஃப்ட்வேர்னு சொன்னா கட்டாயம் அதுக்கு ஒரு டேட்டாபேஸ் தேவை. வெப்சைட்னு சொன்னா அதுக்கும் கட்டாயம் டேட்டாபேஸ் தேவை. நீங்களுமே டே டு டே லைஃப்ல வந்து ஒர்க் பண்ற எல்லாத்துலயுமே டேட்டாபேஸ் வந்து அப்ளை ஆகும் இல்லைங்கச்சா. சார் அந்த மாதிரி தான் நீங்க ஃபாரினுக்கு போய்த்தாலும். ஏண்டா இப்ப நான் வந்து என் பர்சனல் எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ்ல சொல்றேன். லாஸ்ட் டைம் வந்து எனக்கு ஒரு இன்டர்வியூ ஒன்றிச்சு ஃபாரின் கம்பெனி ஒன்றுல. அப்ப அவங்க கேட்ட கேள்வி ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ஓரியன்டட் வந்து கேட்பாங்க. சரியா, ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ஓரியன்டட் என்ன சும்மா அவங்க கேட்கிற சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியர் ஒன்றா நீங்க ஒர்க் பண்ண போறண்டாலும் உங்கள்ட்ட இந்த கேள்வி எல்லாம் கேட்பாங்க. ஆப்ஜெக்ட் ஓரியன்டட்னா என்ன, அதுல இருக்கிற மெக்கானிசம்ஸ் என்ன, டிசைன் பேட்டர்ன்ஸ்னா என்ன அப்படிதான் கேட்பாங்க. கேட்டுட்டு என்கிட்ட கேட்ட ஒரு கேள்வி தான், உங்களுக்கு SQL queries பத்தி நாலேஜ் இருக்குதா, டேட்டாபேஸ் பத்தி நாலேஜ் இருக்குதா. நான் சொன்னேன் யா ஐ ஹேவ் நாலேஜ். தென் அவங்க என்ன செஞ்சாங்க, ஒரு டேபிள் ஒன்று அனுப்பி அதுல கேட்பாங்க இதுல வந்து இந்த கீ வந்து என்ன கீ, ஓகே இதுக்கு டிரைவ் கீன்னு சொல்லி இப்ப நான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லி தந்தேனே அப்படி ஏதாச்சும் ஒன்று காட்டி கேள்வி கேட்பாங்க. இந்த கீக்கு நாங்க என்ன சொல்லுவோம், பிரைமரி கீ, அட்ரிபியூட், அப்புறம் நீங்க டிரைவ் கீ, அப்புறம் கம்போசைட் கீ அப்படி சொல்லுவீங்க தானே. சோ அந்த மாதிரி கேள்வி ஒன்று கேட்பாங்க இல்லைங்களா. அப்ப ஐக்கு போறதுதான் உங்களுக்கு ஐடியா ஈக்கின்னு தெரிஞ்சது போறதுதான் உங்களோட இன்டர்வியூல நீங்க செலக்ட் பண்ணப்படுவீங்க. இந்த மாதிரி தான் நீங்க எங்க ஒர்க் பண்ண போறேன்டாலும் இந்த நான் இப்ப சொல்றேன் ஞாபகம் வச்சுக்கோங்க. நீங்க வந்து சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியராவோ இல்லாட்டி நீங்க ஐடி ரிலேட்டடா எந்த ஒர்க்குக்கு போய்த்தாலும் ஒரே ஒரு கொஸ்டின் சரி டேட்டாபேஸ் ரிலேட்டடா கேட்பாங்க கட்டாயம். ஓகே
கேட்பாங்க. நெட்வொர்க்கிங் தான் செஞ்சேன், அதான் பார்த்தேன் இதுவும் நல்ல சொல்லித்தான்.
எனக்கு நீங்க கட்டாயம் வெப் டிசைனிங் செய்றீங்கன்றாலுமே வந்து கட்டாயம் டேட்டாபேஸ் பத்தி தெரிஞ்சிக்க வேணும். ஏன்னா நான் இந்த கோர்சஸ்ல வந்து நான் படிச்சு அப்ப தனி ஏன்னா நீங்க இதெல்லாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். இப்ப நான் படிச்சு தரது எல்லாமே பாக்கலாம் என்னடா அது ஒரே டீச்சர் எல்லாமே படிச்சு தராங்கண்டு இது எல்லாமே வாரது வந்து அதுக்குள்ளதான். இப்ப நான் வந்து இது எல்லாமே நான் HNDs படிக்கக்குள்ள இருந்து படிச்சேன். இப்ப நான் டொபா படிக்கக்குள்ள நாங்க இது எல்லாமே படிக்கணும். நீங்க ஒரு ஃபுல் ஸ்டாக் ஒரு டெவலப்பரா ஆகுனீங்கன்னு சொன்னா டிசைனிங்கும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், டெவலப்மெண்ட் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும், டேட்டாபேஸ் ஸ்ட்ரக்சர்ஸும் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணும். சரிங்கச்சா.
ஓகே ஓகே, தேங்க் யூ so much டீச்சர். உங்களுக்கு நல்லா கிளியர் ஆயிருந்தது பாடம்.
வெல்கம் வெல்கம்.
ஓகே ஓகே.
டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தா கேளுங்க. ஓகே என்ன
மேடம்
டவுட்
வெப் டிசைனும் நீங்களா படிப்பீங்க?
நான் தான் படிப்பிட்டேன் சார்.
ஓகே, இப்போ ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகுமே சரியானா மேடம்?
இப்போ ஆல்ரெடி ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகி அது இதுக்கும் நீக்கி ஒரு இது முடியுமைக்கும் முடிஞ்சோடனே இன்னொக்கம் அவங்க ரீஸ்டார்ட் பண்ண நீங்க கொஞ்சம் மேனேஜ்மெண்டோட கேக்குறீங்களா?
கேட்டேன், நவம்பர் தான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணேன்னு சொல்லி சொன்னாங்க.
அடுத்த பேட்ச் வந்து நவம்பர் தான் ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணுவாங்க புதா. ஓகே, ஏன்னா இப்போ உண்டு இது மிச்ச நாள் முடிஞ்சிச்சு. ஒரு 8 to 9 10 கிளாஸஸ் மாதிரி முடிஞ்சிருச்சு. அப்ப உங்களுக்கு இடையில ஜாயின் இப்ப நான் லாஸ்ட் கட்டம் முடியிற கட்டம் முடிஞ்சோடனே நவம்பர்ல ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகும். ஓகே
அப்படியே மேடம். ஓகே,
ஓகே.
நான் வந்து டிசைனிங்
டீச்சரா படிப்பீங்க. கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங்னு சொல்லி ஒன்னு போட்டிருந்தாங்க.
கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங் நான் இல்ல புட்டா. கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங் வேற டீச்சர் பிடிச்சு கொடுக்குறாங்களாம். நான் வந்து அது என்னண்டா என்கிட்ட கேட்கல அவங்க, அதனால நான் அது செய்யல. அது ஏற்கனவே ஈந்தாங்களைக்கும் யாராச்சும். அப்ப கிராஃபிக் டிசைனிங் நான் வேறையாத்தான் கிளாஸஸ் செய்றேன். இங்கண்டா நான் டேட்டாபேஸ், அதுக்கப்புறம் ப்ரோக்ராமிங், MS ஆஃபீஸ், சாஃப்ட்வேர் இன்ஜினியரிங், வெப் இன்ஜினியரிங் இதெல்லாம் தான் நான் படிச்சு கொடுக்குறேன் சார். ஓகே சார், எதுவும் டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தா கேளுங்க. எப்பயுமே நான் உங்களுக்கு ஆன்சர் பண்ணுவேன். ஓகே, சோ வேற பாருங்க நீங்க மத்த கிளாஸஸ் ஸ்டார்ட் ஆகும் மைக்கும் நவம்பர்ல. ஓகே yeah, so now I am doing my final project. Yeah, welcome. Get much time to join Zoom meeting, but I listen to eSoft. You are a student at eSoft. I was a lecturer for eSoft DTech students once, like 2 years before. Now you're doing DTech. Amilas is the coordinator right now. 2 years back I was working in eSoft. Your final project, it is in C# ne puta. C# la thane seringa. Can I get your number? I don't usually give my number because I have given டு ஃபியூ ஆஃப் மை ஸ்டூடெண்ட். ஓகே, ஏன்னா எனக்கும் ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ்க்கும் சம்பந்தம் எதுவும் ஈக்காது. நான் கிளாஸ்ல மட்டும் தான் படிச்சு கொடுப்பேன். படிச்சு கொடுத்தோன்னே ரெக்கார்டிங் ஈக்கும். அதுக்கு பிறகு ஈக்கிற விஷயங்கள் எல்லாம் நீங்க மேனேஜ்மெண்டோட இல்லாட்டி கோஆர்டினேட்டரோட தான் நீங்க பேசிக்கொள்ள வேணும். எதுவும் டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தா அவங்கள்ட்ட கொண்டு சொல்லுங்க. இப்படித்தான் எனக்கு ஒரு டவுட் ஒண்டிக்கு அதை கிளியர் பண்ணணும்னு அவங்களோட பேசுங்கடா. அவங்க இந்த இது கான்டாக்ட் நம்பர் வேணும்டா தருவாங்க. ஏண்டா எல்லாத்துக்கிட்டையும் கொடுத்தோன்னே அது கொஞ்சம் கஷ்டமாவே தானே புள்ள சொல்லி நான் எல்லாத்துக்கிட்டையும் ஷேர் பண்ண மாட்டேன். ஓகே, ஸோ உங்களுக்கு எதுவும் இந்த கிளாஸ் ரிலேட்டடான எதுவும் டவுட்ஸ் இருந்தா அப்படி என்கிட்ட இதுல கேட்கலாம் மீட்டிங்ல. ஓகே, யா ஐ எம் a freelancer புதா NFL. ஃப்ரீலான்சிங் பண்ணி கொண்டிருக்கேன். ஏன்டா நான் இப்போ ஈசாஃப்ட் போறல ஃப்ரீலான்சிங் மெயின் ஃப்ரீலான்சிங் தான் பண்றேன். ஃப்ரீலான்சிங்கோட வந்து 2-3 விசிட்டிங் லெக்சரிங்கும் பண்ணி கொண்டிருக்கிறேன். ஓகே தென் அப்ப நாங்க வைண்ட் அப் பண்ணுவோமேனா. ஸோ வில் மீட் அப் இன் தி நெக்ஸ்ட் கிளாஸ். நீங்க நோட்ஸ் எடுங்க, ரெக்கார்டிங்ஸை பார்த்து சரி நோட்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கொண்டு வாங்க. ஓகே, ஸோ see you guys. Bye.
Bye, madam. Thank you.
Welcome, Putha.